Chapter 514. Yang Ming smiled contemptuously. It seemed that the slight good impression that he had just established for Zhou Jiejie disappeared without a trace in an instant. When Zhou Jiejie saw Yang Ming's eyes and expression, she felt a chill in her heart. Her mouth twitched faintly. Zhou Jiejie also knew some of the contradictions between Yang Ming and Wang Jitao. Although it wasn't so detailed, she also knew that Yang Ming didn't like Wang Jitao very much. Now what will Yang Ming think when he sees me sitting with Wang Jitao? Especially when Wang Jitao is still my pursuer, will Yang Ming think that I have already turned to the enemy's front? What's wrong, Jiejie? Wang Jitao was so happy. Zhou Jiejie's dream face was going to belong to him. How could Wang Jitao not be happy? Therefore, while eating, Wang Jitao also paid attention to Zhou Jiejie's pretty face all the time. When Wang Jitao saw that Zhou Jiejie's expression suddenly stagnated, he couldn't help but feel a little strange. At this time, Zhou Jiejie didn't have the mood to deal with Wang Jitao. She didn't even have time to draw a clear line with Wang Jitao. How could she talk to him again? Seeing that Zhou Jiejie didn't speak, Wang Jitao looked up with some puzzlement and followed Zhou Jiejie's gaze. At first glance, an inexplicable anger suddenly surged into his heart. Yang Ming. It's actually Yang Ming. The person that Zhou Jiejie was looking at was actually Yang Ming. However, his father and Zhou Jiejie's mother were present. He couldn't lose his temper on the spot, so he had to endure it. Why am I so unlucky? Why do I always meet Yang Ming, this jinx? It's really bad luck. However, Wang Jitao also knew that even if he wanted to do anything to Yang Ming, it was impossible. His small tricks were nothing in the eyes of others. What's wrong with the two of you? What are you looking up at? When Wang Shifan looked up, he saw that his son and Zhou Jiejie were both looking behind him, so he asked with some confusion. Yang Ming. He also came here to eat. Wang Jitao whispered. However, anyone could sense the resentment in his tone as he gritted his teeth. Oh. Wang Shifan was stunned and immediately said, "Don't worry about him. Let's eat our food." How can we ignore it? He Jitao's father. Zhou Jiejie. Mrs. Zhou opened her mouth and said leisurely, "Jitao, take Jiejie and your classmate to say hello. When the two of you are holding a wedding, you have to tell your classmate, right? Calm. This is obviously to give me face. I can announce to Yang Ming that Zhou Jiejie is mine." Originally Wang Jitao didn't dare to be so obvious to Yang Ming. But now, since Zhou Jiejie's mother supported me, what am I afraid of? I have the opportunity to hold my head high in front of Yang Ming. Why not? So he stood up and said to Zhou Jiejie, "Jiejie, let's go. Let's go and say hello." Zhou Jiejie was still worried that there was no opportunity to explain to Yang Ming. Now that there was such an opportunity, how could she let it go? So she also stood up and followed Wang Jitao to Yang Ming's table. Wang Jitao was proud. It could be said that he was valiant and high-spirited. The battle between him and Yang Ming had finally been decided. Therefore, he walked in front of Yang Ming like a warrior who had returned in triumph. Isn't this Yang Ming? What a coincidence. Wang Jitao still said with a smile, but there was a hint of resentment in his tone. Yang Ming didn't care. He looked up at Wang Jitao. It's quite a coincidence. Are you here to eat? Yeah, I'm here to eat with my girlfriend. My dad and my mother-in-law are also here. Wang Jitao said proudly. Yang Ming frowned. Zhou Jiejie has become this kid's girlfriend? Moreover, he even brought his mother-in-law? Yang Ming looked up and glanced over there. Sure enough, he saw that the woman at the table was the one who came to find him that day. However, Yang Ming was somewhat puzzled. Zhou Jiejie seemed to be very disagreeable with Wang Jitao before. How did they suddenly become boyfriend and girlfriend? Things are weird. Could it be that these two people conspired to play tricks on me? Yang Ming had some doubts. Why are you telling me this? He couldn't figure it out, so Yang Ming was also a little irritated. I just want to tell you that you have Qin Mengyan. Don't have any more ideas about Zhou Jiejie. She is now my girlfriend. Wang Jitao now had Zhou Jiejie. Naturally, there was no need to pretend to be a good person in front of Yang Ming. Although he couldn't beat Yang Ming, he wanted to disgust Yang Ming. Therefore, he deliberately said something like, "You have Qin Mengyan. Don't have any ideas about Zhou Jiejie." He wanted to provoke the relationship between Qin Mengyan and Yang Ming and create some trouble for Yang Ming. Sure enough, after Qin Mengyan listened to Wang Jitao's words, her face changed. It was really hard to say if Yang Ming had any ideas about Zhou Jiejie. Last time Yang Ming and Zhou Jiejie had a wet kiss. If Yang Ming had feelings for Zhou Jiajia after the kiss, he really couldn't help but want to get Zhou Jiajia. However, Qin Mengyan immediately dismissed this idea. If it were another person who said it, Qin Mengyan might really believe it. But the person who said this now was Wang Jitao. Could she believe Wang Jitao's words? Then there would be a problem. Qin Mengyan didn't intend to believe what Wang Jitao said. This guy is full of nonsense. He must be taking the opportunity to provoke the relationship between Yang Ming and me. Thinking of this, Qin Mengyan was relieved. She looked coldly at Wang Jitao acting there. Okay. Are you done? Yang Ming saw that Wang Jitao wasn't very polite to him. He knew that this guy was ready to tear off his disguise. Thinking about it, Wang Jitao maintained a good relationship with me because of Qin Mengyan. Later it was because of Zhou Jiajia. Now that Zhou Jiajia has become his girlfriend, then he and I will no longer have any interest entanglement. There is no need to pretend to maintain a relationship with me. Thinking of this, Yang Ming didn't intend to continue to play with him. In the beginning he maintained a good relationship with him because he was afraid that this guy would retaliate against him. It would be very unfavorable to him if they shed all pretense of cordiality. But now it was different. Yang Ming wasn't afraid of him at all. Not to mention his father Wang Shifan. Yang Ming could also scare him whenever he wanted. Therefore Yang Ming directly waved his hand impatiently. If you are done you can leave. I have no appetite for you standing in front of me. You motherfucker. Wang Jitao just wanted to scold but he hesitated and held it back. If he scolded Yang Ming he wouldn't get any benefits. Instead it would leave a bad impression on Zhou Jiajia's mother. If he fought he wasn't Yang Ming's opponent. So Wang Jitao had to snort and turn around to leave with Zhou Jiajia. He pulled Zhou Jiajia twice, but he found that Zhou Jiajia was indifferent. She stood in the same place and looked at Yang Ming. So he called out with some irritation, Jiajia, what are you looking at? Let's go back. Zhou Jiajia was shocked and suddenly recovered. She said to Wang Jitao, you go back first. I have something to say to Yang Ming. What do you want to say? Wang Jitao listened to Zhou Jiajia's words and only felt that he lost a lot of face. What do you want to say to Yang Ming? Go back. Auntie is waiting over there. Don't hold me. We have nothing to do with each other. Zhou Jiajia unhappily shook off Wang Jitao's hand that was holding her. Wang Jitao's face immediately pulled down. Isn't this embarrassing me in public? Just as he wanted to say something he heard Zhou Jiajia say, Yang Ming, I have nothing to do with him. Really? I don't like him. What does it have to do with me whether you like him or not? Yang Ming frowned. Yang Ming, don't misunderstand. My mother went to find you. That wasn't my intention. Zhou Jiajia quickly explained, it was my mother who went to find you. Today it was also my mother who deceived me to come out and meet him. Are you done? If you are done you can leave. Yang Ming looked at Qin Mengyan whose face changed slightly. He was secretly anxious. Is this Qin Mengyan sick? Isn't this harming me? Yang Ming. Can't you feel my heart for you? Zhou Jiajia saw Yang Ming's cold tone to her and she couldn't help but shed tears. Yang Ming, I love you. Don't you understand? You kissed me a few times. I didn't refuse. And that night in the hotel. Zhou Jiajia was now heartbroken. She felt that her heart had suddenly fallen into an ice cellar. The relationship with Yang Ming had just eased and it was destroyed by my mother and Wang Jitao. My efforts for such a long time fell short of success in an instant. Everything returned to zero. My relationship with Yang Ming has become a stranger again. How could this not make this stubborn and infatuated girl sad? Chapter 5:15. Zhou Jiajia looked at Yang Ming's cold face in pain. Gradually her vision became blurred. On the other side Wang Jitao's face was distorted. His scarlet eyes stared fiercely. He was about to kill Yang Ming. Similarly there was another person with a black face. That was Qin Mengyan. When Wang Jitao said something about Zhou Jiajia she wasn't worried. After all Wang Jitao wasn't always right. She didn't intend to believe him. But now when she heard Zhou Jiajia say it herself, it was different. Especially when she heard Zhou Jiajia say that Yang Ming kissed her. Of course what she knew was that Yang Ming had kissed Zhou Jiajia, but that was only once. What Zhou Jiajia said was several times. Can the concept of once and several times be the same? Once was an accident, but how many times could you say it was an accident? Who would believe it? This was nothing. Zhou Jiajia actually said something about that night in the hotel. This made Qin Mengyan have a feeling that the sky was falling down. Yang Ming really had something between Zhou Jiejia and Yang Ming. She remembered that Wang Jitao said that Yang Ming and Zhou Jiejia sat together in class. It turned out that Yang Ming had been lying to her. Moreover, Zhou Jiejia said that her mother went to Yang Ming. This could explain more. If there was nothing between Yang Ming and Zhou Jiejia, then why did Zhou Jiejia's mother look for Yang Ming? If this matter was just Yang Ming hiding it from her and didn't tell her, Qin Mengyan wouldn't be so angry. The problem now was that she had just asked Yang Ming yesterday. Did Yang Ming use other women besides her and Lan Ling? Yang Ming's answer was very affirmative. No. Therefore Qin Mengyan could hardly believe her eyes and ears. The feeling of being betrayed by her lover made her heart turn cold in an instant. Looking at Zhou Jiejia's face full of tears, Qin Mengyan couldn't help but be moved. If this girl had no feelings for Yang Ming, how could she be so heartbroken? Yang Ming, you really disappoint me. Qin Mengyan tried to control her emotions and make her voice sound normal. She forced herself not to get angry at Yang Ming. Mengyan. Sigh. Yang Ming smiled bitterly and sighed, I really don't have anything to do with her. Pa. Qin Mengyan couldn't hold her anger anymore. She directly slapped Yang Ming and complained loudly, I really didn't expect you to be such a person. You don't dare to admit what you did. Not only did you hurt me but you also hurt her. After that, Qin Mengyan turned and strode out of the Western restaurant, leaving only the stunned Yang Ming and the sad Zhang Bin and Zhao Sisi. You. Yang Ming stared at Zhou Jiejia and couldn't help but be angry. You won't give up until you kill me, right? Are you working with Wang Jitao to trick me? Isn't it enough that you broke up Xia and me? Now you want to ruin it? It was no wonder that Yang Ming would be so angry. Zhou Jiejia was a woman. Yang Ming didn't want to lower himself to her level, but Wang Jitao was different. As Yang Ming spoke, he picked up the Russian borscht soup on the table and poured it on Wang Jitao's head. The soup was dripping. Yang Ming grabbed Wang Jitao's collar and lifted him up. He threw Wang Jitao back hard. Wang Jitao fell to the ground. Yang Ming. Fuck your 18 generations of ancestors. Wang Jitao crazily climbed up from the ground and rushed to Yang Ming. I'm fucking going all out. Today either you die or I die. Originally, Yang Ming's conversation wasn't loud, so Wang Shifan and President Hua didn't pay attention. It wasn't until Wang Jitao suddenly flipped out that Wang Shifan noticed this side. Seeing his son screaming like a madman, Wang Shifan quickly ran over and pulled Wang Jitao. He asked in a low voice, What's going on? Wang Jitao didn't answer. He still glared at Yang Ming with resentment. Yang Ming, you wait. I Wang Jitao swear that I will definitely kill you. If I don't kill you, my surname isn't Wang. Enough. Jitao. What nonsense are you talking about? Wang Shifan gave Wang Jitao a slap. He thought even if you have any hatred with someone and want to kill him, you can't say it out loud. You hit me too? Ah. Wang Jitao laughed miserably. Zhou Jiejia ignored Wang Jitao's craziness. She looked at Yang Ming blankly. Her eyes were full of attachment, tenderness, and reluctance. She also knew that Yang Ming thoroughly hated her this time. Scope. It's too noisy here. Yang Ming shook his head very depressingly. He took out 10 100 yuan notes from his wallet and threw them on the table. It should be enough to compensate for the broken things, right? After throwing the money, he got up and left the Western restaurant with Zhang Bin and Zhao Sisi. Qin Mengyan left. Yang Ming sighed. This misunderstanding was a big deal. However, Yang Ming was very calm. If he didn't do anything wrong, he wasn't afraid of ghosts. There was really nothing between me and Zhou Jiejia. Besides, I don't like her at all. In this case, I don't have to rush to explain to Qin Mengyan. I think that if I let her calm down for a few days, she will figure out what is going on. Yang Ming felt that he couldn't always give in to Qin Mengyan. This little vinegar jar could get angry whenever she wanted. Regardless of the time, place, and occasion, it really gave Yang Ming a headache. So this time, Yang Ming decided not to explain to Qin Mengyan first. It was time for her to reflect. If this continued, it would only worsen the breakdown of their relationship. After Qin Mengyan ran out, she thought that Yang Ming would catch up. But when she turned around, she found that there was no one behind her. This made Qin Mengyan feel very wronged. Does Yang Ming not value me? However, if he doesn't chase, then so be it. Who is afraid of who? Qin Mengyan was angry. She stopped a taxi and left here. However, not long after, our little Mengyan really regretted it. Chapter 5:16. Outside the restaurant, the cold wind blew on his forehead. Yang Ming immediately sobered up a lot. Thinking back to what had just happened, there were many suspicious points. Could it be that I really misunderstood Zhou Jiejie? This possibility wasn't impossible. Through the previous few heart-to-heart conversations with Zhou Jiejie, Yang Ming felt that Zhou Jiejie wasn't a particularly scheming girl. Moreover, she also told him a lot of things that happened in the past, including the resentment between her and Xiao and Wu Qiren. If Zhou Jiejie had been plotting with Wang Jitao to mess with him, then today's incident was too coincidental, right? First of all, they didn't know that he would come to the Persian restaurant to eat, and they didn't know if he would bring Qin Mengyan over. In other words, today's incident was purely a coincidence. There was no possibility of planning in advance. Even if Wang Jitao and Zhou Jiejie wanted to harm him, it was impossible to bring their parents to the restaurant to block him every day, right? That was purely the behavior of a madman. Moreover, even if Wang Jitao wanted to harm him, he wouldn't have spent so much effort to invite Zhou Jiejie's parents just to put on such a show for him. The result was only that he had an argument with Qin Mengyan. No matter how you look at it, it doesn't make sense. Could it be that I really wronged Zhou Jiejie? Today's incident was just a coincidence that led to the current situation? Thinking of what Zhou Jiejie had just said to him, Yang Ming suddenly felt a chill on his back. He connected the previous few wet kisses and Zhou Jiejie's ambiguous attitude toward him. Pa, Yang Ming patted his head. Zhou Jiejie, this chick wouldn't really like me, right? However, this possibility didn't seem to be high. Although Yang Ming thought that his charm wasn't weak, it was only for people who were familiar with him. He and Zhou Jiejie weren't familiar at all. They didn't even talk to each other. How could she like him? The only feeling Yang Ming had right now was that everything was in a mess. Are we going to find Qin Mengyan? Zhang Bin started the car and asked. Forget it, where are we going to find it? Send me back to school. Yang Ming sighed. Back to school? Why are you going back to school? Zhang Bin was stunned. I'm going to take a look at my godfather, Yang Ming explained. In fact, Yang Ming wanted to go to Xiao Qing's place to relax. If that's the case, then I won't accompany you. I was very tired yesterday. Zhao Sisi and I will find a place to rest, Zhang Bin said. When they arrived at the school, Yang Ming got out of the car and Zhang Bin drove away. Yang Ming first called his parents and told them that he would be back later. Then he dialed Xiao Qing's number. Hey Yang Ming, what's the matter? Xiao Qing's voice came over. Sister Xiao Qing, where are you? I'm going to see you. When Yang Ming heard Xiao Qing's voice, his mood suddenly improved a lot. Perhaps, only Xiao Qing wouldn't be suspicious of Yang Ming and wouldn't be jealous of anything. No matter what, she would silently accompany him by his side. Yang Ming suddenly had a feeling that Xiao Qing was the best candidate for his life partner. I'm still at school in the office, Xiao Qing said. The students are on holiday but the teachers haven't. That's fine. I'll come and find you, Yang Ming said. When he came to Xiao Qing's office, Xiao Qing was doing a report on the computer. When she saw Yang Ming come in, she smiled and put down the work in her hand. She said to Yang Ming, why aren't you going home during the holiday? What are you doing at school? Isn't it because I miss you? Yang Ming said as he locked the office door. Then he came to Xiao Qing's side, stood behind her and hugged her. You're not serious. Why did you lock the door? What if a teacher comes in later? Xiao Qing said. I locked it. How can he come in? Just pretend that you're not in the room. Yang Ming smiled. Aren't you delaying my work? Xiao Qing said helplessly, I still have to be busy for a few days. Why don't you go and find Qin Mengyan? Qin Mengyan? I forget it. Don't mention her. Yang Ming smiled bitterly and shook his head. What's wrong? Are you at odds? Xiao Qing looked up and looked at Yang Ming. I say, Yang Ming, you're a big man. Can't you give in to your girlfriend? Do you think everyone has a good temper like me? That's why I like you the most. Yang Ming smiled. I'm immune to your flowery words. Xiao Qing shook her head. What's wrong with you two? Looking at you like this, it seems to be quite serious. This is really a bit inexplicable. Yang Ming told Xiao Qing the cause and effect of today's incident. Yang Ming, are you still hiding something from me? Tell me more about Zhou Jiejie's matter in detail. Xiao Qing's keen intuition found the loophole in Yang Ming's words. Yang Ming just mentioned the grievances between him and Zhou Jiejie in junior high school, but he ignored the misunderstanding of the wet kiss, being in the same room in the hotel, and the water pipe explosion. No wonder Xiao Qing was puzzled. If Zhou Jiejie was just Yang Ming's junior high school classmate, and they hadn't seen each other for many years, wouldn't it be too sudden for her to suddenly run to Yang Ming and say these things? Between Yang Ming and Xiaoqing, there was naturally nothing to hide. He just hesitated a little and then he took out all the things that happened between him and Zhou Jiejie. Xiaoqing listened to Yang Ming's words and frowned for a long time. After a while she said, Yang Ming, whether you believe it or not as a woman, I will say my opinion. Sister Xiaoqing, if you have any opinion just say it. How can I not believe you? Yang Ming said quickly. This isn't a question of whether you believe me or not. I'm just saying the possibility of my analysis. Because I can't be particularly sure, but it should be close. Xiaoqing said slowly. And Sister Xiaoqing, you say it. Yang Ming nodded. Yang Ming, I think Zhou Jiejie should really like you and this relationship should have been for a long time. Xiaoqing sighed and said, I think Zhou Jiejie started to like you since junior high school. Yang Ming opened his mouth in surprise. Junior high school? She likes me? It's impossible, right? In junior high school she seemed to be the one who didn't like me. As the study committee member she always found fault with the homework I handed in. Moreover, she was also the one who quickly told Wu Qiren about my relationship with Suya. She likes me? What a joke. Yang Ming, you may not understand, but I know more about the psychology of students than you do. Xiaoqing said with a smile, don't forget what I do. I'm a teacher. I have received training in student psychology. In a sense, Zhou Jiejie should really like you. In junior high school, how would boys and girls show it when they liked each other? If a boy or a girl always found an excuse to find trouble with a classmate of the opposite sex, this shows that he or she likes that classmate. This truth isn't something I said casually, but it's a common psychology of teenagers at that age. If you don't believe it, you can search on the internet. As for you saying that Zhou Jiejie complained to you and Suya, that's even easier to explain. A little girl's jealousy. She thought that if she complained to you, the teacher would separate you and Suya. Then wouldn't she have a chance to be with you? Isn't that right, Yang Ming? Anyway, I think so. Xiaoqing analyzed. Yang Ming was stunned as he listened. After a while he reacted. Sister Xiaoqing, are you telling the truth? Why do I feel that it's so childish? If Zhou Jiejie really likes me, then her approach will obviously cause me to be disgusted. Hee, do you think a 10-year-old child can do something mature? Xiaoqing said with a smile, weren't you just as childish? Looking for someone to beat up Zhou Jiejie? You really did it. You even hit a female classmate. Yang Ming blushed with shame. I was just angry. This is nothing. You actually gave up on yourself because of this matter. Isn't this obviously childish? Your life is your own. What does it have to do with others if you give up on yourself? Wu Qiren probably wanted you to become like this at that time. Xiaoqing was so angry that she didn't expect Yang Ming to do such an impulsive thing in the past. After Xiaoqing said this, Yang Ming was a little embarrassed. Yes, I said that others were childish, but wasn't I very childish in the past? The things of that era, the grievances and disputes of that era, who could figure it out except for the parties? Chapter 5:17. However, when Yang Ming recalled what Xiaoqing had just said, he fell into deep contemplation. I had this feeling before and now Xiaoqing's words confirmed my idea. That is, Zhou Jiejie likes me. Moreover, according to Xiaoqing's analysis, Zhou Jiejie likes me for a reason. Yang Ming sighed deeply. If this is the case, then it is really troublesome. Originally, Yang Ming thought that everything Zhou Jiejie did was to retaliate against him for finding someone to beat her up. But now it seemed that it was different. It was really troublesome. Yang Ming never thought about the possibility of him and Zhou Jiejie being together. Because it was simply unrealistic, he and Suya obviously couldn't coexist. Moreover, even if he couldn't find Suya in the future, he would always have a knot in his heart with Zhou Jiejie. However, after listening to Xiaoqing's words, things were completely reversed. Zhou Jiejie, who was originally sinister, had become a little girl who was infatuated with him. This made Yang Ming very difficult to accept for a while. If she was an enemy, Yang Ming could still be calm, but now how could he face Zhou Jiejie? Turned out that she really liked me. Otherwise, why didn't she have any objection when I saw her body and kissed her? Yang Ming knocked on his somewhat chaotic brain inside. Well, Yang Ming, don't think so much. Let's find an opportunity to explain to Chen Mengyan. Xiaoqing advised, let's put Zhou Jiejie's matter aside for the time being. That's the only way. Yang Ming began to have a guilty conscience now. It turned out that she didn't know that Zhou Jiejie liked him. Then he could confidently say that Qin Mengyan wronged him. But now the situation was different. How could Yang Ming be confident? Will Yang Ming be happy? Shao Qing said with a smile, "What's wrong with that? For more people like you, it proves that you have great charm. Otherwise, I can't like you, a little boy who is so much younger than me." "Sister Shao Qing, don't make fun of me." Yang Ming shook his head helplessly. "This matter is complicated. Even if Zhou Jiejie really likes me, I can't accept her." "Why not? Do you think I don't know you? Very fickle." Shao Qing smiled and said, "Oh, I know. You are afraid that Suya doesn't like her, right? This is one of the aspects. The key problem is that my impression of Zhou Jiejie has never changed." Yang Ming nodded and said, "How can you change so quickly? Don't you have to take it slow?" "Yang Ming, I can boldly say that the next time you see Zhou Jiejie, I guarantee that there will only be sympathy and love in your eyes. There will definitely be no more disgust and anger." Shao Qing analyzed with certainty. "Let's talk about this later." Yang Ming wanted to avoid this problem now. He didn't know how to face Zhou Jiejie. "Let's talk about Suya. You rarely mention her to me." Shao Qing saw that Yang Ming looked a little awkward, so she changed the topic. "Suya? You know, she's my first love." Yang Ming shook his head helplessly. "Since then we have no contact. However, according to Zhou Jiejie, Suya wrote a few letters to me, but they were all kept by Wu Qiren. After I knew about this, I went to look for Wu Qiren. But the letter from that year wasn't anything important. How could Wu Qiren keep it?" And Shao Qing nodded after listening. "It's okay, Yang Ming. I believe that you will meet again if you are fated." "I hope so." Yang Ming smiled bitterly. "Right, your little girlfriend's name is very interesting. It is similar to a popular celebrity today." Shao Qing saw that Yang Ming was unhappy, so she took the initiative to lead the topic to another topic. "Yeah, I know. You're talking about Shuya, right? Did you forget? When we were in Hong Kong, I bought a ring from her." Yang Ming reminded her. "Oh yes, I remember when you said that. I was really wondering why you bought a ring from her. It turns out that it is similar to your little girlfriend's name." Shao Qing suddenly said, "I was wondering why this Shuya's name was so familiar." "Why, did you see her again these days?" asked Yang Ming. He didn't know why, but Yang Ming was more concerned about this Shuya's news than ordinary celebrities. He didn't know why. Was it because her name was similar to Suya's? Or was it because she had the ring that he gave to Suya? Or was it because he still suspected that she had an inextricable relationship with Suya? There was an intuition that told Yang Ming that this Shuya must have something to do. And don't you know? Shuya is going to hold a national concert tour after the Chinese New Year. Shao Qing said, "There are reports on the internet these days." "Really? Concert tour? Is she coming to Songjiang?" Yang Ming asked curiously. "I don't know if she is coming to Songjiang. After all, we are a city-level city, but she probably has to go to Donghai." Shao Qing said. "When is it?" Yang Ming nodded and asked. "This is not clear. The specific time arrangement and venue haven't come out yet. Now there is only a general information on the internet." Shao Qing explained. "So that's the case. Well, Sister Shao Qing, help me pay attention to this matter." Yang Ming said. "Why, do you have any thoughts about this big celebrity?" Shao Qing asked with a smile. "That's not it. I just feel that she seems to have a relationship with Suya." Yang Ming explained. "You mean this Suya is your Suya?" Shao Qing listened to Yang Ming's words and asked immediately. "This is not it. If you look at her appearance, I am sure that Shuya shouldn't be Suya, because I don't even remember what Suya looks like. Moreover, even if a person grows up, there can't be such a big change." Yang Ming shook his head. "However, I still think that this Shuya has a bit of a problem. Suspicious, but you can rest assured. I will help you pay attention to this Shuya." Shao Qing nodded and didn't ask much. Sometimes, many things were based on intuition, but because of this intuition, it would play an unexpected role at a critical moment. Looking at Shao Qing's coquettish appearance, Yang Ming suddenly felt that his lower abdomen was burning. This voodoo is really harmful. It has only been a few days and it has started to make trouble again. It was no wonder. Yang Ming and Qin Mengyan were about to have a good thing yesterday, but it was ruined by the few little punks. Right now Yang Ming was having a hard time holding it in. Yang Ming quickly closed the curtains and said to Shao Qing, "Sister Shao Qing, Why don't we have an office romance? Xiaoqing was stunned and said quickly, don't make trouble, Yang Ming. Wait for the night. This is daytime in the office. What if someone comes? It's okay. Who would know if we closed the curtains? Yang Ming said with a smile. Besides, isn't there still more than an hour to get off work? That won't work. Hey, Yang Ming, what are you doing? Quickly take your hand away. Xiaoqing exclaimed. Hee hee. Yang Ming's desire had been provoked. How could he stop just like that? Little rascal, you only know how to bully your sister. Xiaoqing lay lazily on the sofa in the office and leaned her head on Yang Ming's shoulder. Really? I don't think so. Just now it seemed that you took more initiative, right? Yang Ming smiled evilly. How could that be? Xiaoqing was embarrassed. Wasn't that later? You were the one who coerced me. That's just right. Or even now. Yang Ming patted Xiaoqing's smooth thigh and said. Well, let's get up and clean up. Let's go to your godfather's place for dinner tonight. Xiaoqing shook her head and got up. Lie down for a while. What's the hurry? Yang Ming was also very tired. He didn't sleep well yesterday and he had just experienced a unique physical labor. Naturally, he wanted to rest. Knock, knock, knock. At this time, there was a sudden knock on the door outside Xiaoqing's office. Quick, quick, get up quickly. Xiaoqing was shocked. She stood up in a panic and put on the clothes on the sofa. What's the hurry? Let me see who it is first. Yang Ming patted Xiaoqing's shoulder and motioned for her to be patient. Xiaoqing rolled her eyes at Yang Ming. She really forgot that Yang Ming had this special ability. Yang Ming looked up at the door and couldn't help but be shocked. Mom. Yang Ming exclaimed. What mom? Who is it? Tell me quickly. Xiaoqing said anxiously. It's not your mom, but also my godmother. Yang Ming smiled bitterly. Chapter 518. Xiaoqing was also shocked. She was clear about Yang Ming's special ability. If Yang Ming said so, then it must be so. So she hurried to put on her clothes in a panic. Sure enough, Chu Huifang's voice came from the door. Qing Qing, are you there? Why don't you open the door? Why is the door still locked? Shu. Yang Ming made a silent gesture. As a result, Xiaoqing was a little confused. She actually replied, Mom, you wait for me. I'm sleeping. Oh, this child, so you are here. Then hurry up. Chu Huifang said. Yang Ming sighed. It's over. He whispered with some annoyance. What did you promise? Don't you know how to pretend that no one is here? I didn't think about it. I just casually promised. It was no wonder that she was caught in bed by her mother. Anyone's brain would be a little slow. So, Xiaoqing's subconscious reaction was to respond to her mother's call as soon as possible to prevent her from forcing her step by step. Hey, let's put on our clothes. Yang Ming said helplessly. Since it had come to this, there was no other way. It was important to put on their clothes quickly. The two people hurriedly put on their clothes. Xiaoqing tidied up her messy hair. Just as she was about to open the door, she suddenly reacted. No, Yang Ming is still in the room at the moment. So she quickly said, Yang Ming, you hide first. Hide? What? Yang Ming was stunned and didn't react. Didn't I just say that I was sleeping in the room? If I was sleeping, then what were you doing in the room? Xiaoqing said hurriedly, isn't this to make Mom suspicious? Really? Yang Ming shook his head helplessly. Although he was reluctant, he couldn't do anything. According to Xiaoqing's statement, she was sleeping. It was indeed inappropriate for him to be in the room. Yang Ming looked around and looked for a place to hide. Xiaoqing's office basically had no furnishings. In addition to the desk and a sofa, there were bookshelves and a small wardrobe. It couldn't be helped. Although the wardrobe was small, Yang Ming had to open the door of the wardrobe and go in. Yang Ming smiled bitterly. It turned out that when he saw the people on TV hiding in the wardrobe or under the bed, he thought it was funny, but he didn't expect that he would have such a day. Xiaoqing looked at the wardrobe door. She didn't find any flaws. She walked over and opened the door of the room and whispered, Mom, why are you here? Am I not here to get the bonus? Then I came to see you on the way. She was also a retired employee of the school. Oh. Xiaoqing nodded and didn't know what to say. Why are you sleeping did not last night? Why is your face so red? What's wrong? Do you have a fever? Oh. I'm just a little sleepy. Mom, I'm fine. Xiaoqing shook her head quickly. What's the matter? Can't I come to see you if I'm fine? Chu Huifeng smiled. Look at what you said. Why, don't you want to invite Mom into the room? Please come in, please come in. Xiaoqing moved aside awkwardly and let Chu Huifeng come in. Chu Huifeng walked into the room and sniffed the smell in the air. She suddenly frowned and looked at Xiaoqing in confusion. Although she didn't say anything, her eyes were full of puzzlement. Mom, please sit down. I will get you some water. Xiaoqing didn't see Chu Huifeng's expression just now. After Chu Huifeng sat on the sofa, she quickly went to find a disposable cup to pour water for Chu Huifeng. You don't have to be busy. I'm not thirsty. This child, why are you so busy? You are so polite to me. Chu Huifeng shook her head and smiled. It's not busy. It's not troublesome. Xiaoqing was now afraid to face Chu Huifeng. She was afraid that she would be seen through. Hee. Chu Huifeng smiled. Qing, are you really okay? I'm fine. Xiaoqing replied guiltily. Mom, I just slept a little hot. I'm really fine, that's good. Chu Huifeng nodded. Xiaoqing didn't pay attention here, but Yang Ming, who had sharp eyes, was always paying attention to Chu Huifeng's every move. When Chu Huifeng entered the room, she seemed to smell something. Yang Ming knew that it wasn't good. After the two people just did it, it was inevitable that there would be a residual smell in the air. Chu Huifeng was experienced. How could she not smell it? Yang Ming groaned in his heart. This is going to be a little difficult. I hope that Chu Huifeng is just suspicious. She won't get any evidence from Xiaoqing's mouth. Chu Huifeng's gaze suddenly stopped on a white thing on the edge of the sofa. Yang Ming's pupils contracted and his forehead was sweating profusely. This Xiaoqing, why is she so careless? This is over. Let's see how you explain it. That white thing was actually Xiaoqing's underwear. Isn't she too careless? She actually forgot her underwear when she was putting on her clothes. Chu Huifeng reached out and picked up the underwear that was thrown on the sofa, and then said, Qing, what are you doing? Why are your underwear thrown in the office? Xiaoqing was shocked by Chu Huifeng's words. The disposable paper cup in her hand almost fell to the ground, but she also said calmly, Mom, I'm going to take it home to wash. Just give it to me, forget it. Mom will take it home to wash. Chu Huifeng said as she wanted to fold the underwear and put it in the bag. She didn't want to reach out and touch it. The underwear was actually sticky and slippery. Chu Huifeng picked up the underwear and looked, but she found that there was still some crystal liquid left on it. Mom? Xiaoqing was stunned on the spot. God, what did I do? Not to mention that I actually forgot to put on my underwear because I was already emotional when I hugged Yang Ming just now. It was inevitable. The mother and daughter were so embarrassed on the spot. Yang Ming's heart was hanging in the air. Yang Ming thought, Xiaoqing, you must not admit anything. If you really can't, you can just admit that you were watching an adult film just now. Qing. In the end, Chu Huifeng hesitated to speak. After all, she was old and experienced, so she wasn't as embarrassed as Xiaoqing. Mom. Actually, this is it. Xiaoqing's face was red and she was somewhat incoherent. Although she was already 30 years old, in fact, in front of Chu Huifeng she was almost like a child. Come Qing. Sit next to Mom. Let's have a heart-to-heart talk. Chu Huifeng waved to Xiaoqing. What are we talking about? Xiaoqing sat next to Chu Huifeng with trepidation. Just a casual chat. Your dad isn't here. It's just us mother and daughter. There are no outsiders. Chu Huifeng calmed down her mind and smiled. Although we are not biological mother and daughter, we are almost the same. There is nothing to avoid. Oh? Xiaoqing didn't dare to say more and just nodded slightly. Qing, don't be nervous. You tell Mom. Just now were you doing that? Chu Huifeng grabbed Xiaoqing's hand and asked kindly. What? Do that. Xiaoqing was scared. Could it be that my mother really saw something? No, Yang Ming hid it very well. Mom wasn't a psychic like Yang Ming. She couldn't see through the closet to see if there was a hidden person. Don't be nervous. Don't be embarrassed. Chu Huifeng shook her head. Qing, you are 30 this year, right? What is there to be embarrassed about? You are like a child. Well, if you don't want to say it, then Mom will say it for you. Then you say it. If Xiaoqing said it herself, she wouldn't say it even if she was beaten to death. Now she could only take one step at a time. Qing, what is this thing on the underwear? Chu Huifang took the underwear and pointed it out to Xiaoqing. This? Xiaoqing only felt that her face was burning. Qing, in fact, there's nothing to say. It's not like Mom hasn't been young and impulsive before. Chu Huifang said seriously, we women also have normal physiological needs sometimes. Xiaoqing was still confused. She didn't know whether Chu Huifang was going to criticize her or comfort her. He had to be silent and listen quietly. Yang Ming was about to collapse in the closet. What is Godmother doing? Chapter 519. This Xiaoqing is too much. Why are you so hesitant? Can't you just make up a reason directly and confidently? Do you need to act like a thief? However, Yang Ming was also anxious and couldn't help. He couldn't jump out of the closet to help Xiaoqing explain, right? That would be even more screwed. Therefore, as a last resort, Yang Ming had to bite the bullet and watch the mother and daughter talk in the closet. He hoped that they could end this topic as soon as possible. Otherwise, Yang Ming would really collapse. Qing, I think it's fine even if you need it. Just look, you don't have a sink in your room. Have you washed your hands? Are your hands clean? Don't be unhygienic and contract any gynecological diseases. That would be bad. Chu Huifang said earnestly, and when you do this you can't be in the office. Fortunately it's Mom who came in today. What if it were someone else? That would have a bad influence. When Xiaoqing heard this, she understood what Chu Huifang meant. She misunderstood. She thought that I just did it in the office. While she was glad, her face was very embarrassed. It was clearly not the case, but he had no choice but to admit that he was wrong. So she had to say, Mom, I won't do it next time. Mom didn't mean to blame you. Chu Huifang saw that Xiaoqing was like a child who made a mistake. She couldn't help but laugh. Mom means that if you really want to, then it's not a big deal to do it by yourself. You just have to pay attention to the occasion and hygiene. Of course, you have to pay attention to the number of times. Don't do it too often. But you can't do it without. Can't do it without? Xiaoqing broke into a sweat. Mom is too powerful, right? How can she say this to me? You're 30, right? Mom was also at your age. I know these things very well. Chu Huifang said, but Mom still thinks that you should find a boyfriend. Even if you don't get married, two people together are better than you are now. This isn't necessary. I don't want to find a boyfriend. Xiaoqing said awkwardly. Qing, Mom didn't know about these things, so I didn't force you to have a boyfriend. But now it's different. Since Mom knows, then it's definitely my duty. Chu Huifang said solemnly, it's my fault. I've neglected your feelings all these years. I always thought that you were still a child. I didn't expect that you're already 30. You're a mature woman. It's normal for you to have such thoughts. Mom, it's not as serious as you said. I will handle it myself. Xiaoqing had to say. How are you going to deal with it? Just like just now? Chu Huifang shook her head and said, how can that be? Qing, there are no outsiders here. Mom will tell you in a low voice. Actually, the feeling between you and a man is completely different. If you can't release yourself, it will harm your body and make you feel uncomfortable. Listen to Mom and find a boyfriend. If there is no suitable one, Mom will introduce one to you. Mom, Xiaoqing was now sweating profusely. She was forced to be helpless. She almost said that she had a boyfriend. Yang Ming was sweating even more. He didn't expect Godmother to actually say these words. But it was normal when he thought about it. Godmother regarded Xiaoqing as her own daughter. Now wasn't she advising her? It was just that things weren't what she thought. Actually what? Qing, it's not that Mom wants to scold you, but look at how much you need it now. You can even do it in the office. Chu Huifang saw that Xiaoqing didn't listen to her advice, and her tone gradually became stern. If you didn't have such a strong desire, how could you be like this in the office? You must be like this because you can't help it, right? And this shouldn't be the first time, right? Xiaoqing almost fainted on the spot. She scolded Yang Ming, this little bastard, in her heart. He almost killed her sister. Is there anyone who does what you do? Next time I will definitely not agree to do it with him in places other than the apartment. So, I think it's time to find you a boyfriend. This matter is very important. Chu Huifang saw that Xiaoqing didn't speak, so she continued to say, Qing, it's okay if you do it once or twice, but it won't be good for a long time. It's easy to be tired of life and resist marriage. What's more, it will have an impact on your future life. You will become autistic and your personality will be distorted. The consequences will be serious. Xiaoqing widened her eyes and looked at Chu Huifang incredulously. It can't. Why can't you? Have you forgotten what your mom studied? He studied psychology. I know this very well. Chu Huifang said, really in the long run the consequences will be very serious. Yang Ming was completely convinced this time. He almost sat paralyzed in the closet. Godmother is really too strong. Personality distortion. Tired of life, isn't this too outrageous? And I think you have a bit of this tendency now. You don't even tell mom the truth. Qing, to be honest, your current situation is very dangerous. You belong to the category of borderline teenagers. When Chu Huifang talked about psychology, she had an occupational disease and began to talk non-stop. Mom, I'm really not as serious as you said. I just occasionally. Xiaoqing saw that Chu Huifang was getting scarier and scarier, so she quickly stopped her. Yang Ming was in the closet. When he heard the words just now, he must be laughing his head off. Is it really just occasionally? Chu Huifang asked with some disbelief. Really? Xiaoqing said quickly. Well, if it's occasionally, then it's okay. But next time you have to pay attention to control yourself. Don't do it too often. 3 or 4 times a month will be fine. Chu Huifang said. Okay, I understand. Xiaoqing nodded quickly. Also pay attention to the time, occasion and hygiene. Chu Huifang said. I know, Mom. Let's go home. Xiaoqing's face was burning. It's all this damn Yang Ming's fault. Well, let's go home. Chu Huifang shook her head and said, look at you sweating all over. Don't catch a cold. I will find some clothes for you to wear. As Chu Huifang said this, she stood up and walked in the direction of the closet. She was going to open the closet door to get clothes for Xiaoqing. Mom. Xiaoqing stood up abruptly and rushed in front of Chu Huifang, blocking her way. Mom, I will find it myself. You should rest, this child. Chu Huifang was somewhat inexplicable. Then you find it yourself. What other secrets do you have? No, nothing. Chu Huifang's casual words scared Xiaoqing. She subconsciously replied vaguely. Chu Huifang was also a very shrewd person. She immediately heard the strangeness in Xiaoqing's words. She frowned and then looked at Xiaoqing suspiciously. Qing, are you hiding something from Mom? No, how can it be? Xiaoqing blamed herself for being impatient. I'm not like this usually. What happened today? Then you open the closet and let Mom see inside. Chu Huifang hesitated and said, Mom, are you suspecting me? Xiaoqing said stubbornly. Of course, she wouldn't agree to open the closet door. If Chu Huifang saw that Yang Ming was inside, then she and Yang Ming would be finished. I'm not suspecting you. I'm just looking around. Chu Huifang said. Mom, what do you want to see? Xiaoqing simply cut off all means of retreat and said, do you think I can hide a man in the room? That's not it. I'm just afraid that you are hiding something else, such as the utensils. Chu Huifang really didn't suspect that Xiaoqing hid a man in the closet. She just suspected that Xiaoqing hid some utensils in it, so Chu Huifang wanted to see what it was. You better not be harmful to the body. Mom, look at what you said. How can I hide that kind of thing? Why don't you take a look? Xiaoqing deliberately took a step back. Forget it. Since you said so, then I won't look. You quickly change your clothes. Chu Huifang thought about it and decided to leave some face for Xiaoqing. After all, her daughter was already 30 years old. She had her own privacy. Xiaoqing had to open the closet this time. She also knew that although Chu Huifang said that she wouldn't look, she would still be worried. If she didn't open the closet, she would be more suspicious. Therefore, she prayed that Yang Ming wouldn't stand at the door. He must hide behind the clothes. Chapter 520. Sure enough, when Xiaoqing opened the closet door, Chu Huifang intentionally or unintentionally glanced into the closet. When she didn't see anything, she was relieved and no longer suspicious. Xiaoqing also breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that Yang Ming hid very well and didn't reveal any flaws. Xiaoqing took out a large windbreaker and deliberately left the door of the closet open. Chu Huifang looked for a long time this time, but she didn't see any clues. Let's go, Mom. Let's go home. Xiaoqing put on the coat and then closed the closet. Okay, let's go. Chu Huifang glanced at the office again and then went out with Xiaoqing. Yang Ming waited for a long time until there was no movement in the room. Then he opened the closet door and walked out. He took a breath. The smell of the mothballs in the closet wasn't very flattering. Not long after, Yang Ming's cell phone rang. He received a short message from Xiao Qing, telling him to lock the door when he left, and then pretend that nothing happened to come to his godmother's house for dinner. Yang Ming smiled and shook his head. He looked at the room and didn't leave any flaws. Then he went out, locked the office door and went downstairs. Yang Ming didn't immediately go to Lu Weishan's place. Instead, he strolled around the campus twice before coming to his godfather's house. Chu Huifang naturally didn't have any doubts, and Xiao Qing's face returned to normal. Obviously, she had explained to Chu Huifang clearly. Moreover, because Lu Weishan was present, it was impossible to discuss the topic between these women. Yang Ming had dinner at his godfather's house and left with Xiao Qing. Chu Huifang also specifically told Yang Ming that he must send Xiao Qing to the door of the apartment corridor. It was dark at night and the students were on holiday. She was afraid that it wouldn't be safe. Of course, Yang Ming agreed to it. When they arrived at Xiao Qing's apartment, Xiao Qing took a long sigh of relief. She patted her chest and said, "I was scared to death today. I was almost caught by my mother." "Isn't it because you are nervous?" Yang Ming smiled and said, "But it's quite interesting. Godmother misunderstood that you were doing it yourself. You're still talking." Xiao Qing rolled her eyes at Yang Ming and said, "It's all your fault. You had to play some kind of office romance. Isn't it great now? We were almost done for." "Hehe, then I won't play in the future. Otherwise, Godmother will say that you don't care about the occasion, place and hygiene." Yang Ming smiled evilly. "Really piss me off." Xiao Qing was helpless for a while. Of course, it was impossible for Yang Ming not to go home at night. He had already told his family that he would go back a little later, but this and not going back were two different concepts. So, after Yang Ming and Xiao Qing were done, he went home. Today, Zhou Jiajia and Qin Mingyan's matter made him a little anxious. His mood was not very good, but at Xiao Qing's place he had a good time. Yang Ming also temporarily forgot the pain. When he came to the school gate, Yang Ming suddenly found a very familiar figure standing in the cold wind and stopping a taxi. Yang Ming's heart tightened. He had a very strange impulse. "Sister Ing," Yang Ming whispered softly. Zhao Ing heard Yang Ming's shout and turned around abruptly. Her eyes couldn't help but show a touch of joy. "Yang Ming, why are you here? Isn't it a holiday?" "I participated in a university winter camp. It just ended today." Yang Ming said, "What about you, Sister Ing? Where are you going so late?" "I'm going back to my hometown for the new year." Zhao Ing said, "The train ticket is at 11 o'clock. I didn't expect it to be so difficult to stop a taxi." Yang Ming looked at the time. Sure enough, it was now 9:30. If she delayed a little longer, it was hard to say if she could catch the train, so he said, "I'll think of a way." You don't have to bother, right?" Zhao Ing felt a little embarrassed. "If you have something to do, you can go first. I'll stop for a while." "How can that be? This matter can't be delayed." Yang Ming glanced at Zhao Ing in the evening wind. He took off his coat with some pity and put it on her. Zhao Ing was stunned. This is such a familiar action. Once upon a time, Yang Ming also put a coat on me like this. Well, that was when he was in high school, one night of tutoring. Thinking of the events in high school, Zhao Ing couldn't help but think of the sweetness of the past. They ate at the food stall together, faced the bad guys together, took the taxi together, and were treated as a couple by the driver. What a beautiful memory. Zhao Ing couldn't help but be infatuated. She fell into the boundless memory. Yang Ming didn't have time to recall those. He took out his mobile phone, opened the phone book and hesitated. Who should I call? Zhang Bin. At this time he must be having fun with Zhao Sisi. Yang Ming didn't want to bother him. Who else is left? Ho Zhenhan. These days he was studying the negotiations with Guojin Biao. He must be very busy. Yang Ming didn't want to look for him at this time of the storm. As for the rest. Oh right, Yang Ming suddenly saw a name in the phone book. His face lit up. Sun Kun. How could I forget about him? So Yang Ming quickly dialed Sun Kun's number. Hello. After a while, Sun Kun's phone call was connected. Yang Ming, right? What's the matter? I'm driving. Brother Kun, aren't you working the day shift? Why are you working the night shift? Asked Yang Ming. This is not necessarily true, hehe. Sun Kun laughed. Brother Kun, where are you? asked Yang Ming. I just came out of the train station and sent a guest off. Sun Kuan said, I'm going back. This is the case, Brother Kuan. I have something to trouble you with. Yang Ming said, my friend is in a hurry to go to the train station. Can you send us there? No problem. Where are you? What's the trouble? Sun Kuan promised. We're at the entrance of Songjiang Industry University. Yang Ming said, okay, wait for me. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Sun Kuan hung up the phone after he finished. You don't have to trouble him, right? Zhao Ying asked with some embarrassment. It's okay. Yang Ming said with a smile. Yes, you know this person too. Who? Asked Zhao Ying. You'll know when you come. Yang Ming smiled mysteriously. Pretending to be mysterious. Zhao Ying shrugged. How was the final exam? You didn't fail, right? Of course not. I'm still Sister Ying's favorite student. How can I embarrass Sister Ying? Yang Ming laughed. You're not serious. But it's good that you didn't fail. It's troublesome to retake the exam. Zhao Ying nodded. Sister Ying, where is your hometown? Why haven't I heard you mention it before? Asked Yang Ming. My hometown is in S City. It's far from here. Zhao Ying said, my home is in a mountain village. It's relatively remote. Oh, it's good. If I have the chance, I'll go there. Yang Ming nodded. The environment there must be good, right? It's okay. Zhao Ying nodded. If you want to go, then I'll take you back this summer. Right, Sister Ying, how many days are you going back? Yang Ming asked casually. I'm only going back for a few days. Our graduate program is different from yours. I have to rush back on the first day of Chinese New Year. I have a business project to do. Zhao Ying said helplessly, so you don't have to miss me. We'll meet again soon. You're back so early? Yang Ming was stunned. It's really tough. Right, Sister Ying, Songjiang's Chinese New Year temple fair is very interesting. If you come back on the first day of Chinese New Year, you'll have a chance to see it. Yeah, I've heard about it a long time ago. I used to stay at home until the 15th before coming back, so I haven't had the chance to see the temple fair here. But I came back early this year. There should be a chance. Zhao Ying nodded and said, that's great. Call me when you come back. I'll take you to the temple fair. Yang Ming smiled and said, there are a lot of fun things in the temple fair. It's a promise. Zhao Ying smiled. Her heart was full of expectations. Sure enough, Yang Ming and Zhao Ying didn't talk much. Sun Kuan's car came and stopped in front of Yang Ming and Zhao Ying, honking the horn. Sister Ying, get in the car. Yang Ming picked up Zhao Ying's luggage on the ground and put it in the trunk of the car. He sat in the back seat of the car with Zhao Ying. Brother Kun, you're quite fast. Yang Ming said after he got in the car. Thank you so much. What are you thanking me for? Sun Kuan waved his hand and suddenly saw Zhao Ying. He was stunned. You are. Zhao Ying also recognized Sun Kuan. Ha, little sister, I recognize you. You and little brother Yang are both my guests. Sun Kuan laughed. Chapter 521. In the evening. In the study of the Wang family's villa. Wang Shifan sat in the boss chair behind the desk and looked at Wang Jitao standing in front of him. Jitao, why are you still so impulsive? Wang Shifan said with some disappointment. Dad, I can't bear it anymore. If I don't do something, am I still a man? Wang Jitao said while gritting his teeth. I don't object to you doing something, but you threatened to kill Yang Ming in public. If something really happened to him, wouldn't you be the first suspect? Wang Shifan scolded. I'm sorry, Dad. I was impulsive. Wang Jitao bowed his head and said. Jitao, but you can rest assured that Dad will give you justice for today's matter. Wang Shifan was now different from the past. Since he killed Su Daji, he had become a little arrogant. Killing one person was also killing. Killing two people was naturally also killing. He didn't care. Thank you, Dad, but Zhou Jiajia. Wang Jitao still couldn't bear to part with Zhou Jiajia. Wang Shifan sighed. Love is the key to love. However, he was also very optimistic about the relationship between Wang Jitao and Zhou Jiajia. If Wang Jitao and Zhou Jiajia could really be together, then even if he committed a crime in the future, he could rest assured. Don't worry, Jitao. I will also work on Zhou Jiajia's side to ensure that she will become the daughter-in-law of our Wang family. Really? That's great. Dad, thank you so much. Wang Jitao was overjoyed. Over there, Yang Ming still didn't know that the Wang father and son had begun to plot against him. This was indeed a bit of a pity. If Yang Ming knew, he would definitely laugh. He was worried that he didn't have a reason to deal with the Wang father and son. The two of them jumped out themselves. Well, since they were looking for death, then they couldn't blame him. After sending Zhao Ying to the train station, Yang Ming returned home in Sun Kuan's car. His parents had already rested. Yang Ming tiptoed back to his room. It was a silent night. The next morning, Yang Ming followed the prior agreement and rushed to Zhang Jiefeng's company with Zhang Bin. Uncle Zhang. Yang Ming nodded politely to Zhang Jiefeng. How is the company planning? I'm here today is to talk to both of you. Then. And. Dad, why do you have to be so formal? Can't we just talk in your office? Zhang Bing said indifferently. Be serious. Zhang Jiefeng reprimanded, you're going to start your own business. How can you be so indecent? You have to be more mature in the future. Look at Yang Ming. He's much more mature than you. Yes. Zhang Bin slanted his mouth. He didn't dare to say anything more. He sat at the table and waited for Zhang Jiefeng to say something. I'm almost done with the company's procedures. But we still need a better office location. Zhang Jiefeng said. Uncle Zhang, can't we just find a random office location? Can't we just find one like yours? Yang Ming asked. This is fine, but it doesn't have any advantage. My idea is that you should do it well. It's best if you find a building with both upper and lower floors. The location has to be good. This way the lower floor is the shop and the upper floor is the company. It's killing two birds with one stone. Zhang Jiefeng explained, moreover I won't hide it from you too. Zhang Bing's mother and I don't actually have any feelings for each other. Marriages in that era were just arranged by others. If they were pleasing to the eye, they would get married. So, I don't want her to know if I do anything. Zhang Bin's mother is also a jealous person. Yang Ming and Zhang Bin looked at each other and smiled. The reason why Zhang Jiefeng didn't hide it from them was very simple. When he was in Yunnan, Yang Ming and Zhang Bin knew about his own matters. It was useless to hide it now, so he might as well say it out loud. If that's the case. Yang Ming fell into deep thought. Zhang Bin and I will look for it. But such a place shouldn't be easy to find. The location is also very important. It has to be in a bustling area. Such a house must be in high demand. It's hard to get it in a short time. You're right. I also arranged for my secretary to look at the bustling areas of Songjiang, but I didn't find a suitable place. Zhang Jiefeng said, there are small shops, but you have to be famous and high quality. That kind of small shop is too petty. Dad, do you want me and Yang Ming to drive out for a while? It's before the new year. Many shops are closing at this time. Maybe we can find a suitable place. Zhang Bin suggested. That's true. Well, you and Yang Ming will discuss the location in a while. Zhang Jiefeng nodded. There's one more thing. I met with Elder Lu before. Elder Lu suggested that we hire a European designer for our shop. Here are a few names for me. Then please. This kind of thing can't be sloppy. Yang Ming nodded. It doesn't matter if the remuneration is high. I understand this, but now it's not the problem of the remuneration. It's the problem of whether the designer is willing to come. You're just a jewelry company that hasn't been established yet. Although Elder Lu's name is there, the other party may not believe it. Zhang Jiefeng said, I did make a call to communicate, but the other party is still skeptical. He asked us to send a representative to discuss in detail. It's not wrong for the other party to be cautious. Then let's go. Yang Ming smiled and said, is he asking me and Zhang Bin to go? Of course it's the two of you. Who else can it be? Your godfather is so old. It's not good to torture him. My company is too busy. Zhang Jiefeng smiled and said, after the new year I will apply for passports for both of you. Yang Ming and Zhang Bin didn't have any objection to this. While they were working, it was also good to go out for a trip. At noon they had a working lunch at Zhang Jiefeng's place. In the afternoon, Yang Ming and Zhang Bin went out to find the company's location. The two of them first went around a few bustling streets not far from here. They didn't find any stores for rent or exchange. So the two of them went to the Songjiang commercial street that was further from here. This place isn't bad. Zhang Bin pointed at an empty two-story building. And Yang Ming was stunned. This is a commercial street. How can there be an empty house? I remember the last time I went shopping with Chen Mengyan, I didn't see an empty shop. However, Yang Ming suddenly patted his forehead and suddenly remembered. This seems to be a real estate company's sales office. The last time I came here with Chen Mingyan, there seemed to be a sales ceremony happening here. Oh? What real estate company? Zhang Bin immediately asked. Let's find this real estate company. Ask them if they are selling this place. Yang Ming nodded. Zhang Bin was right. This matter shouldn't be delayed. This is a golden shop. If it was robbed by someone, it would be regrettable. As they spoke, the two of them began to inquire about which real estate company this sales office belonged to. After a long time, they found out that it belonged to a company called Xinheng Real Estate. The Xinheng department store not far away was their company's property. Yang Ming and Zhang Bin couldn't help but be speechless. The strength of this company was really not small. However, even though they were speechless, they still had to do something. The two of them dialed 114 to find out the company's office address and went straight there. Wu Zhongjie did very well in the final exam this time. He went from the last few to the second best in the class. This made Wu Zhongjie's parents so happy that they couldn't close their mouths. When they asked him what reward he wanted, Wu Zhongjie looked at his parents coldly and directly threw out a sentence. When did you really care about me? When my grades are bad, you complain. When my grades are good, you want to reward me. Are there parents like you? You never ask me why my grades are not good, and you never ask why my grades are better. Isn't it because the teacher Yang taught well? Wu Zhongjie's mother said, you can rest assured. I will invite him to teach next semester. Wu Zhongjie snorted. You invite? Brother Yang might not necessarily come. Would Brother Yang be interested in this tutor's money? Isn't it because of Sister Jiyun that he can come to substitute for me? Then you invite him. I don't want other rewards. I just want this reward. Wu Zhongjie wanted to find Yang Ming to learn the skill of opening the door without the key, but when he called Yang Ming a few days ago, Yang Ming directly declined. At that time, Yang Ming was busy with Wu Qiren's matter in Donghai. He was so busy. How could he have time to play with Wu Zhongjie, this little brat? Chapter 522. So Yang Ming rejected Wu Zhongjie with a few words and told him that he had something to do and was busy. Wu Zhongjie wasn't happy. He said that Yang Ming didn't fulfill his promise, so he wanted to call Lin Jiyun to complain. Yang Ming was amused. He handed the phone directly to Lin Jiyun, who was next to him, and let Wu Zhongjie complain. Wu Zhongjie really didn't know what to do this time. He knew that Yang Ming really had something to do, so he had to give up. Today he came to his father's company again to discuss hiring Yang Ming as a tutor. However, Wu Zhongjie's father Wu Fugue was very busy today. After listening to Wu Zhongjie's words, he waved his hand and asked his secretary to deposit 50,000 yuan in his card. Then he said, the money is given to you. You go and find it yourself. I don't want any money. Is this how you do things for me? Wu Zhongjie looked a little unhappy. I'm so busy today. Isn't it to accumulate a family business for you in the future? Wu Fugue said impatiently, okay, you go and play by yourself. This is what you said. Next time when I am the last in the class, don't be angry. Wu Zhongjie said calmly. What's wrong with you, child? Wu Fugue frowned. I can't find the person you asked me to find. I'm busy today. How can I find the person you mentioned? Although Wu Fugue loved his son very much, it wasn't his concern for him. It was more of a materialistic concern. If his son wanted to buy something, he would buy it no matter how much it cost. No matter how much money he wanted, he would give it without hesitation. He wouldn't frown for tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands, but now his son asked him to do a very troublesome thing. He was a little impatient. Before this, he didn't inquire about it. He asked his secretary to find several tutors, but he couldn't contact the college student named Yang Ming. In his opinion, what was the difference? If he couldn't find this person, then find another person. Can't you find a good tutor with money? Hey, don't regret it. Wu Zhongjie was annoyed. His father only knew how to give him money when he saw him. Other than that, he only asked about his grades. He didn't ask about his private life at all. This child. Wu Fugue shook his head but didn't take it seriously. In his opinion, giving his son more money was already showing his care and love for him. Wu Zhongjie stormed out of his father's office. Yang Ming and Zhang Bin arrived at the headquarters of Xinheng Real Estate Company and were directly stopped by the lady at the front desk. May I ask who you two are looking for? Although the question was polite, it was very serious. There was a sense of oppression from a big company. However, what kind of people had Yang Ming not seen before? He didn't even show his fear in front of the world's top assassin, let alone a receptionist. However, Zhang Bin was different. Seeing that the other party had asked such a formal question, he was a little hesitant. "Hello, we are here to buy a house," Yang Ming said unhurriedly. "Buy a house? Sorry sir, we don't sell houses directly here. Every building has a sales office. If you are interested in a building, I will give you the phone number of the sales office," said the receptionist. "We don't want that kind of commercial housing, but we want to buy a retail house," Yang Ming explained. "Commercial services are also sold together with the sales office. Which commercial service do you fancy?" asked the receptionist. "No, the place we are looking at is a retail house in the commercial street. It used to be your company's sales office. It is now empty. I want to buy it." Yang Ming shook his head and said, "You want to buy a sales office?" The receptionist looked at Yang Ming strangely and said, "I really haven't seen this before." "Then please wait a moment. I will ask our supervisor to confirm." Yang Ming nodded and the receptionist began to make a call. After a while, the receptionist said, "You wait a moment. In a while our sales staff will come to talk to you. You can rest on the sofa over there first." Not long after, a tall and thin man came out of the elevator. After he said a few words to the receptionist, he went straight to Yang Ming's side. "Hello, I am the deputy manager of the sales department. My surname is Wang." The thin and tall man introduced himself. Yang Ming quickly stood up and shook hands with him. Then the two sat side by side on the sofa in the reception area at the door. "Hello, Manager Wang. Your company's receptionist should have already said it, right? We are interested in buying a sales office of your company," Yang Ming said straightforwardly. "Well, you can tell me specifically. Which sales office do you want to buy?" Deputy Manager Wang nodded and asked. "We are interested in the sales office on the commercial street, the one on the second floor," Yang Ming said. "Oh, that place. I know." Deputy Manager Wang frowned and said, "There is no plan to sell the sales office yet. Moreover, our company should have other uses for the location of the shop." "I see." Yang Ming couldn't help but be a little disappointed. However, if they weren't going to sell, he couldn't force them to sell, right? "Would you like to leave your phone number first? I will contact you after I ask for instructions," Deputy Manager Wang said again. When Yang Ming heard Deputy Manager Wang's tone, he knew that the matter seemed to be impossible. He was just being polite by asking him to leave his contact information. The hope was close to slim. "Deputy Manager Wang, can you ask for instructions now? We are really sincere to buy it. The price is negotiable." Yang Ming also really liked the location of the shop. The price didn't matter. After all, it was a one-time investment. "Well," Deputy Manager Wang hesitated. He also knew that if that place was really sold, the price would definitely be in the tens of millions. His commission would definitely be substantial. Therefore, Deputy Manager Wang directly called his superior, the sales manager. However, the sales manager couldn't make the decision, so he called the chairman of Xinheng. After a while of the secretary's transfer, Deputy Manager Wang contacted the chairman of the company. "Chairman Wu, I'm Little Wang from the sales department," said Deputy Manager Wang. "What's the matter?" Wu Fugue asked straightforwardly. "This is the case. There is a customer who wants to buy our sales office on the commercial street. Are we selling it?" Deputy Manager Wang asked. "Sales office?" Wu Fugue frowned. "That hasn't been priced yet, right? Even if it is sold, it has to be discussed after a meeting. Besides, don't we still have a building nearby to sell next year? We can't sell it yet." "Oh, I got it. Chairman Wu." Deputy Manager Wang saw that the chairman didn't intend to sell it for the time being, so he gave up asking. Although he saw a lot of money floating away in front of him, he couldn't do anything about it. Hanging up the phone, Deputy Manager Wang shrugged and said, "Sorry, sir. I made you wait for a long time. Our chairman doesn't intend to sell it for the time being. Well then, sorry to bother you." Yang Ming nodded. He knew that it was useless to talk to this Deputy Manager Wang. He was a small character. He couldn't change the decision of the upper management. Yang Ming was now thinking in his heart, should I let Ho Jinhan do some activities? But now Yang Ming wanted to do a legitimate business. He didn't want to use some abnormal underhanded means. If it was just to build a relationship, it should be possible. If it was coercion, then it wasn't necessary. Yang Ming and Zhang Bin were about to leave, but they suddenly heard a familiar voice behind them. Brother Yang. Yang Ming turned around and saw Wu Zhongjie running toward him with a depressed face. Brother Yang, why are you here? I'm here to do something. What about you? Why are you here? Yang Ming asked, baffled. Don't mention it. Wu Zhongjie shook his head. Right, Brother Yang, what are you doing here? Is there anything I can help with? I just took a fancy to a commercial building. It's the property of Xinheng Real Estate, but they don't seem to have plans to sell it. Yang Ming smiled and shook his head. What's the use of asking so much? Where is it? I'll ask for you. Wu Zhongjie asked casually. Yang Ming didn't care, but Deputy Manager Wang on the other side had widened his eyes. He was full of surprise. He naturally knew Wu Zhongjie's identity, but he didn't expect Yang Ming and Wu Zhongjie to know each other. It seemed that their relationship was very good. That was strange. Why didn't this Yang Ming mention that he knew the chairman's young master? But he also knew that there was no place for him to interrupt, so he just watched respectfully. Chapter 523. Yang Ming saw the look of Deputy Manager Wang on the side. His heart was moved. He suddenly remembered that Wu Zhongjie seemed to have told him before that his father opened a real estate company. Could it be? Yang Ming quietly told Wu Zhongjie the location of the shop on the commercial street. Wu Zhongjie didn't say anything after listening. He went directly to the front desk and picked up the internal phone. The receptionist didn't stop him at all. Yang Ming's heart was more certain of his thoughts. Hello, connect me to my dad's call. Wu Zhongjie said casually. It didn't take long for Wu Fugui's voice to come from the phone. Son, why are you calling Dad again? Are you ready to reconcile with Dad? Wu Fugui thought that his son wanted to reconcile with him. He was a little happy. Generally speaking, Wu Zhongjie rarely took the initiative to call him. Dad, I want to talk to you about something. Do you have an empty sales office on the commercial street? Wu Zhongjie asked directly. Yes, why are you asking this? Wu Fugui was somewhat inexplicable. Deputy Manager Wang just asked this. Why is my son asking this? What's so special about the sales office? I'll sell it for you. Wu Zhongjie's words were shocking. What? Wu Fugui was puzzled. He said, Son, what did you say? You sold it? What's going on? Are you joking with me? Do you think I have time to joke with you? Wu Zhongjie said impatiently. Do you not want to talk to me? Then forget it. Treat it as if I didn't make this call. Wait. Wu Fugui smiled bitterly and said, Then you have to tell me what's going on? Nothing much. A friend of mine wants to buy it. I'm going to sell it to him. Wu Zhongjie said, Just one sentence. Are you selling it or not? If you sell it, I will take back what I said in the office. If you don't sell it, you have to bear the consequences. Wu Fugui's head was full of black lines. He thought, Little ancestor, aren't you forcing me to sell it? However, for Wu Fugui, it really didn't matter whether he sold it or not. Since his precious son could repair the relationship with him, he could do whatever he wanted. Even if his son wanted to tear down the house, he would send him a few bulldozers. Thinking of this, Wu Fugui said, Okay, do whatever you want. You can sell it. As for how much it would cost, Wu Fugui didn't care. He really didn't lack that bit of money. Alright, that's settled then. By the way, how much is the store? Give me a discount. Wu Zhongjie also knew that if he gave it to Yang Ming, he wouldn't accept it. He might as well sell it at cost price. No one would suffer a loss. Well, I don't know the details. You called from downstairs, right? Can you see if Xiao Wang from the sales department is here? Tell him to answer the phone. Wu Fugui said. And you mean Manager Wang? Wait a minute. Wu Zhongjie glanced at Yang Ming and shouted, Manager Wang, a phone call. Deputy Manager Wang naturally knew who Wu Zhongjie was calling, so when Wu Zhongjie called him, he ran over. Hello. Deputy Manager Wang picked up the phone respectfully. Director Wu. I understand. Hey. You can rest assured. Deputy Manager Wang understood what Director Wu meant, which was to calculate the approximate cost price of the store. Although in this way his commission was almost gone, Deputy Manager Wang didn't care now. If he could work for the chairman and the young master, he might become the chairman's confidant. So this kind of opportunity wasn't available to everyone. So, Deputy Manager Wang went to do this for Yang Ming in a flattering manner. Wu Zhongjie also finished his business, so he began to talk to Yang Ming about tutoring. "Brother Yang, when are you going to play with me?" asked Wu Zhongjie. Yang Ming sweated after listening. This kid treats tutoring as playing with him. However, this was good enough. Learning through playing was the best way to achieve the best results. "You see how busy I am today. Do you still need me to tutor you?" Yang Ming smiled bitterly. "Don't you like those little skills? When I have time, I'll teach you how to pick locks." "No, Brother Yang, I feel very happy to be with you. You are much better than my parents. You taught me a lot of useful principles," Wu Zhongjie said seriously this time. Yang Ming looked at the child who was much younger than him and couldn't help but sigh. "Wu Zhongjie, this child is really pitiful." So he said helplessly, "Well, we will talk about the next semester, but I may not be able to go to your house so often. Twice a month." Well, although Wu Zhongjie was reluctant, he couldn't help it. He also knew that Yang Ming was usually very busy. Just by the fact that Yang Ming could buy a business on the commercial street, he definitely wasn't a person who lacked money. So Wu Zhongjie also understood that the reason why Yang Ming could tutor him was entirely because of Lin Jiun. Now it would be good if he could come twice a week. Anyway, Yang Ming wasn't really tutoring him. He was just having a heart-to-heart talk with him. With the young master of Xinheng's chairman, things were going smoothly. Soon, Deputy Manager Wang estimated the price of the business on the commercial street. It was about 6 million. When he reported the price, Yang Ming directly gave a price of 7 million. If such a business was unknown, it would cost at least 10 million. Moreover, it was still a matter of whether he could buy it or not. Although there was Wu Zhongjie's relationship, Yang Ming didn't want others to lose money. Zhang Jiefeng was very surprised. He asked his secretary to find the company's location for a long time. Yang Ming and Zhang Bin actually settled it in one afternoon. After asking, it was actually the location of a shop that he had inquired about. At that time, Zhang Jiefeng also liked the sales office of the two-story building on the commercial street. However, after consulting, they didn't intend to sell, so he could only give up. But he didn't expect that the two children could actually get it. With the company's location, the next thing was simple. Zhang Jiefeng began to take care of the decoration matters. These didn't need Yang Ming to worry about. Jiduan City's boss, Guojin Biao, saw that the men he sent to negotiate came back with a gloomy face. After asking, they were despised by the two men who were casually dismissed by Bao Sanli. He was furious. He picked up the phone on the table and called Bao Sanli. Bao Sanli was now following the behind-the-scenes boss's instructions. He would never lower his head to Guojin Biao. When he saw that the phone was Guojin Biao's number, he picked it up. "Oh, who is this? What's the matter?" asked Bao Sanli. "Brother Bao? I'm Jiduan City's Guojin Biao." Although Guojin Biao was full of resentment, he still had to be polite. "Bosque, what's the matter?" asked Bao Sanli indifferently. "Brother Bao, let's not beat around the bush. My son had an accident in your territory. I sent my men to negotiate with you. You don't seem to put me in your eyes at all, right?" Guojin Biao's tone began to become unkind. Bao Sanli sneered in his heart. "So what if I don't put you in my eyes?" Bao Sanli said to Guojin Biao impatiently. "According to the previous agreement, this matter is not under my control. You should look for Ho Zhenhan." After saying that, he hung up the phone with a bang. Looking at the call-ended sign on the phone, Guojin Biao was so angry that he gritted his teeth. "What the hell? You obviously don't put me in your eyes. You're just a little punk. You dare to call me by my number after just a few days? In terms of seniority, I'm your senior. When I first came out, you were still playing in the mud while wearing diapers." Guojin Biao scolded. After scolding, he still had to call Ho Zhenhan again. "Everything is a bit different from what I expected. Isn't this deviation too big?" Guojin Biao originally thought that Bao Sanli would definitely be scared if he accidentally hurt his son. Maybe Bao Sanli would come to apologize. At that time, he could ask for a lot of benefits. But later, things didn't go as he thought. Bao Sanli simply acted like nothing happened. When Guojin Biao saw that Bao Sanli didn't move, he had to send someone to negotiate. His momentum was lower than before. But at this time, Guojin Biao still thought that Bao Sanli would give him a lot of compensation. He didn't expect that even though the negotiation was done, he was driven away before he could mention his conditions. Holding back his anger, Gu Jinbiao dialed Ho Junhan's phone again, but he didn't expect that Ho Junhan's first sentence almost made him vomit blood. Of course we can't not do anything, but we can change the way. Yu Xiaohu hesitated and said, I think it's better for us to play in the dark. Ask someone to find trouble with Ho Junhan and Bao Sanli. We can scare them and let them think that we are not easy to bully. You mean to assassinate them? Gu Jinbiao immediately became interested. There is no need to kill them. We are here to mingle, not to sell our lives. We just need to intimidate them. Of course it is not bad to break their legs. Yu Xiaohu said gloomily, in this way it is not considered breaking the rules. He injured our young master. We can find someone to cripple him. He can't say anything. Good idea. Gu Jinbiao nodded after listening. He patted Yu Xiaohu's shoulder happily. Who do you think should do this? This is a problem. Yu Xiaohu frowned. There must be someone around Bao Sanli to protect him. Moreover, I heard that Ho Junhan is a master. Last time he defeated the thugs invited by the Four Snakes gang from the south. Now that you mention it, I really remember it. Then in our gang, except for Vat and Lun Zi, the others can't fight one-on-one. Gu Jinbiao asked with some concern. One-on-one, that is definitely not possible. Yu Xiaohu shook his head. We are not going to fight one-on-one with him, but we are going to send someone to secretly trick them. Even if Vat and Lun Zi are good at one-on-one, so what? Will they fight one-on-one with you? If the people around Bao Sanli find out, won't they come up and beat them up? Gu Jinbiao couldn't help but be moved after listening. Yeah, who would want to fight one-on-one with you? If you are caught, a group of people will PK. So this method won't work? Gu Jinbiao shook his head. Why not? Are we not going to send our brothers from the gang? Yu Xiaohu said with a smile. Don't send our own brothers? Who should we send? Gu Jinbiao didn't understand. Brother Biao, have you forgotten? There is a veteran assassin organization in our province. When you assassinated the original boss of Jiduan City, Brother Daxing 3 years ago, didn't you do business with them? Yu Xiaohu reminded. You mean the Black Widow assassin organization? Gu Jinbiao's face twitched. Obviously he didn't want to be involved with such an organization. Last time he was forced to do so. This time, because of this matter, he asked the assassin to come out again. He was really reluctant. Most underworld organizations were not willing to be involved with assassin groups. This was also natural. After all, the underworld played with means and territory, not to kill and rob for a living. But the assassin organization was different. This kind of organization was a pure killing machine. If he really provoked them, he might not even know how he died tomorrow. That was why Gu Jinbiao had never contacted the organization after he had paid them the full amount of money after the last mission. That's right. Only they can do this well. Yu Xiaohu nodded. Gu Jinbiao nodded and shook his head. He couldn't help but fall into contemplation. He had to think about the pros and cons. However, when he thought of the humiliation he had suffered before and just now, Gu Jinbiao gritted his teeth and nodded fiercely. Okay, let's do it. You go and get me an anonymous phone card. Okay, I will go now. Yu Xiaohu nodded, turned and walked out. On Gu Jinbiao's side, he opened the fingerprint safe in the office and found a phone book from it. When Yu Xiaohu returned to the room, Gu Jinbiao had already locked the safe, leaving only the phone book. Gu Jinbiao took the phone card with trembling hands, then stuffed it into a mobile phone, turned it on and waited for the internet search to end. Gu Jinbiao dialed a number according to what was written in the phone book. The Heavenly King covers the Earth Tiger. After the phone was connected, the other party directly said the first half of the connection code. Widow is dead. Gu Jinbiao said carefully. He wasn't sure if this organization still used the previous code after so many years. Who are you looking for? The other party asked again. Black Widow. Gu Jinbiao saw that the other party didn't question it, so he was slightly relieved. This time he answered more quickly. Welcome to the Black Widow Revenge Company. Is there anything you need help with? The other party saw that the two codes were correct, so he asked slowly. I want you to help me kill. No, help me teach a person a lesson. Gu Jinbiao said carefully. This person is called Bao Sanli. He is from Songjiang. Bao Sanli? The other party hesitated and said, you should know what this person does. As for the price, no problem. I want to cripple his legs. What is the price? You can say it. It will be enough to make him lie in bed for 3 months. Gu Jinbiao said quickly. 1 million. The other party said faintly. 1 million. Isn't it a bit expensive? Gu Jinbiao felt some pain. Then you should find someone else. The other party was about to hang up the phone. Wait, I agree. 1 million it is. You must make him unable to get out of bed. Gu Jinbiao said quickly. This isn't a problem. You should be our old customer, right? You can rest assured about our credibility. If you can't do it, we won't take a cent, the other party said. Okay, then I will transfer the deposit to your account. Is it still the original one? Gu Jinbiao asked. No, now it is changed to online payment. I will tell you a URL. You fill it in according to the prompt. Your serial number is 200900133. Don't fill it in wrong. The other party said. After hanging up the phone, Gu Jinbiao logged into the URL, filled in the serial number and then paid online according to the prompt. Chapter 525. It was not until the prompt on the screen, your payment has been received and your order has been submitted to the company's agenda. Gu Jinbiao breathed a sigh of relief. After not contacting for a few years, the Black Widow Assassin Company had become much more modern. In this way, the information of the payer could be avoided. It seemed that they had fully considered this for the customer's privacy. Yang Ming unexpectedly received a call from Zhao Ying. The relationship between the two people could not be said to be very harmonious. Although they could still talk and laugh together when they met, Yang Ming had already felt that there was a gap between the two people. Just like usual, the two people rarely talked on the phone. Occasionally, when they saw each other on campus, they would say hello to each other and chat for a while. Today, Zhao Ying took the initiative to call him, which made Yang Ming's mind start to become active again. Sister Ying, are you home? Yang Ming picked up the phone and asked. Well, I'm here. Zhao Ying's tired voice came from the other side of the phone. I just arrived. I just got off the train. I'm a little tired. Well, then you have a good rest, Sister Ying. Yang Ming smiled and said, You are still in the sleeper. Wouldn't those people who buy hard seats or even standing tickets be exhausted to death? I'm a girl. Zhao Ying smiled reproachfully. Zhao Ying's tone made Yang Ming's heart sway. Now Zhao Ying had completely lost her former teacher aura. She was like a young girl who occasionally acted coquettishly, which made Yang Ming drunk. This feeling was very enjoyable. It made the distance between Yang Ming and Zhao Ying close a lot in an instant. From teacher and student to brother and sister, and now to Zhao Ying, who sometimes acted coquettishly with him just like a younger sister. Although the relationship between the two of them had become distant on the surface, in fact the relationship between them had become closer than before. What's the matter? Yang Ming felt that Zhao Ying calling him from afar was not just to act coquettishly, right? There is something I want to trouble you with. Yang Ming, you won't refuse your sister, right? Zhao Ying hesitated and said, Look at what you are saying. It's not a trouble. If there is anything, just say it. For Zhao Ying's matter, Yang Ming was duty-bound. Back then Zhao Ying had given him love and care. The most important thing was her trust. That deep friendship was something that he could never repay in a lifetime. My parents' age was in a hurry when I left. I forgot to take it. Zhao Ying said with some embarrassment. Can you help me get it? Is there anyone there? Asked Yang Ming. I don't know if Wang Xiaoyan is still there. It's Chinese New Year. She should have gone home. Zhao Ying was stunned when she heard Yang Ming's question. Then she said, How about this? You go to my dormitory and get the room key. I put the key in the second drawer of my desk. You open it. There is a small makeup box. The key is inside. The key question is there anyone in your dormitory? Yang Ming was a little dumbfounded. Now the school was on holiday, right? Then I will give you a cell phone number. It's my sister in the dormitory. You call her first and see if she is in Songjiang. If she isn't, you can find the building manager downstairs in our dormitory. Talk to her and let her open the door for you. If it doesn't work, you can call me again. Zhao Ying said. Really? So troublesome? Yang Ming had a headache when he heard it. Why? Do you find it troublesome? Zhao Ying smiled. It's okay. Who asked us to have an unusual relationship? Yang Ming said ambiguously. Zhao Ying was speechless for a while, but she was still slightly happy in her heart. Then I will leave it to you. Don't worry. Yang Ming nodded and promised. In his heart he didn't intend to do as Zhao Ying said. The path that Zhao Ying gave him was too complicated. He had to find the girl in her dormitory and then get the key. Then he could go to Zhao Ying's rented house and open the door. Isn't this purely looking for trouble? Yang Ming was now best at picking locks. A small security door could be opened even without a key. After hanging up the phone, Yang Ming first called Ho Junhan. Big Ho, how are things over there? Guo Jinbiao didn't make any moves, right? Asked Yang Ming. According to the spies we planted in Jiduan City, Guo Jinbiao didn't make any moves. It was like he was swallowing his anger, said Ho Junhan. Oh. Yang Ming frowned after listening. It is reasonable to say that it is impossible. Guo Jinbiao has been in the underworld for so many years. He isn't the kind of person who can swallow his anger. If he doesn't respond, then we can only suspect that he has other conspiracies. You have to be careful of him. I also think that things are a bit strange, but there are several of us in Jiduan City. If there is any change, I will be the first to receive the news. Ho Junhan nodded. But now that they don't make a move, we don't need to pay too much attention. Okay, then you be careful. Yang Ming didn't say anything. Although he faintly felt that something was wrong, he couldn't tell what was wrong. Perhaps Guo Jinbiao was waiting for the best time to launch an attack. Now it was before the Chinese New Year. It wasn't a good time. I know, Brother Yang. You can rest assured. Ho Junhan said, Brother Yang, is there anything else? No, you wait. Yang Ming suddenly thought of something. He remembered the means he used to deal with the Four Snakes gang. Assassination. Such a word suddenly appeared in Yang Ming's mind. Yes, Guo Jinbiao can also do the same. If I were Guo Jinbiao, it would be impossible to lead my underlings into Songjiang City at this time, but I can't swallow this anger. What should I do? The best way is to send a powerful underling to Songjiang to secretly deal with Bao Sanli and Ho Junhan. First, it is easy to succeed. Second, it also has a deterrent effect. Moreover, even if the action fails, I can also push away my own responsibility. It is really the best of both worlds. What's wrong, Brother Yang? Ho Junhan asked quickly. I'm afraid that Guo Jinbiao will secretly send his underlings to trouble you. You and Bao Sanli have to be careful for a while. Don't fall into his trap. Yang Ming instructed. Don't worry, Brother Yang. Are you still not assured with my skill? Ho Junhan smiled. In short, it is better to be careful. Yang Ming also knew that Ho Junhan's skill was good, but compared with a real assassin, it wasn't worth mentioning. However, Yang Ming didn't think that Guo Jinbiao could have an assassin under him. In that case, he couldn't just be the boss of a small county. Yang Ming followed the instructions of grandmother Lan Ling. He monitored Ma Xiaoyao several times a day, but he found that Uncle Ma was listening to the songs on the radio. There was nothing special at all. If there was anything special, it would be going to the small park nearby to exercise for a while every morning. However, during this period he didn't have any contact with anyone. This wasn't enough to make Yang Ming suspicious. What made Yang Ming suspicious was that Ma Xiaoyao was muttering something to himself when he was practicing swordsmanship or boxing. Although Yang Ming could see his mouth shape, he couldn't understand what he was saying because Ma Xiaoyao said some meaningless sound combinations. At first, Yang Ming thought that it was a chant when he was practicing swordsmanship, so he didn't care. However, after a long time, Yang Ming gradually found that it didn't seem to be the case because the meaningless sounds that Ma Xiaoyao said every day were different. For example, when he was practicing swordsmanship today, he probably said, bitter smile, yellow light, basketball is beautiful, static spray paint. Tomorrow it would become, Sa Wang is watching, good mouth, I can't count, I can't click. In fact, if it was only a slight difference, Yang Ming couldn't see it. After all, meaningless mouth shapes were the most difficult to recognize. However, it was because these meaningless mouth shapes were different every day that Yang Ming paid attention. This Uncle Ma didn't look like a psychopath. Yang Ming hadn't heard of anyone who kept saying meaningless words while practicing swordsmanship. Grasping this flaw, Yang Ming began to become serious. He observed Ma Xiaoyao's mouth shape every day, and then recorded the general pronunciation in a notebook. However, Ma Xiaoyao spoke quickly, so Yang Ming could only record a part of it. Yang Ming recorded as much as he could. He tried his best to remember the words at the beginning and end of every day clearly. Chapter 526. Even if it was just this, It made Yang Ming anxious every day. Yang Ming even thought, since my eyes can see far and see through things, why can't I have a video function? For example, after seeing a certain scene, I want to remember it so that I can refer to it again later. But this was just Yang Ming's thought. This seemed to have nothing to do with the function of the eyes. It required a very good memory. After Yang Ming received a call from Zhao Ying, he rushed to the small house she rented before. Because it was almost the Chinese New Year, many express delivery companies were closed, so the post office's postal service was very heavy. Yang Ming was worried that if he was late for one day, it would delay a lot of things. When he came to the familiar community, Yang Ming sighed. He used to visit the place every day, but now he hadn't been here for more than half a year. Looking at the familiar scene here, Yang Ming could only sigh. When he came to the familiar door of Zhao Ying's house, Yang Ming didn't even think about it. He directly took out the lily key opening tool that Fong Tian gave him from his pocket and opened the door in a few moves. After Yang Ming entered the house, he didn't have the mood to stay. He went directly to Zhao Ying's room and found the 2 packaged pillows on the desk. On the bed, there was still Zhao Ying's special fragrance. It made Yang Ming somewhat fascinated. He remembered that he sat here and Zhao Ying applied medicine for him. Is there a story between me and Zhao Ying? Yang Ming didn't know. He wasn't sure. For Zhao Ying, Yang Ming always had a sense of uncertain control. Is it because of the previous teacher-student relationship between Zhao Ying and myself? Or is it because of Zhao Ying's rejection to me that night? Yang Ming couldn't explain it clearly. However, this was a very vague feeling of uncertainty which made Yang Ming feel very uncomfortable. As for the other women, whether it was Qin Mengyan or Lin Jiun, Yang Ming felt that as long as he worked hard, he could definitely capture their hearts. However, Zhao Ying was different. He couldn't tell exactly how she was different. The sibling relationship between Yang Ming and Zhao Ying was different from that of Shao Qing. Shao Qing was much older than him and she was more open-minded about some things. However, Zhao Ying was different. She was only 3 years older than him. She wasn't even as mature as him when it came to the idea of love. This led to the weird relationship between the two of them. I love to bathe, the tortoise fell down. My skin is so good, so many bubbles. While Yang Ming was deep in thought, a strange singing voice suddenly entered his ears. Yang Ming was shocked and stood up abruptly. Is there someone in this room? When Yang Ming pried open the door, he subconsciously thought that there was no one in this room. After entering the room, he also glanced around casually. There was no one else in the room. How did it happen in such a short time? The bathroom. Yang Ming suddenly remembered that he didn't look at the bathroom. Thinking of this, Yang Ming quickly looked up and saw a petite girl wiping her smooth skin with a bath towel. Then he saw the small butterfly tattoo behind her butt. Who else could it be if it wasn't the girl who lived with Zhao Ying? Yang Ming was shocked. How could I ignore her? Yang Ming didn't want to meet her. His relationship with her wasn't very good. He had seen her embarrassed appearance several times. She probably hated him in her heart, right? Yang Ming quickly picked up the 2 pillows on the table and tiptoed to escape the scene before the butterfly delinquent girl noticed. However, man proposes, God disposes. Seeing that Yang Ming was about to reach the door of the living room, just as he was about to open the door, he heard a delicate voice behind him. Who is it? Before Yang Ming could answer, he felt a gust of wind behind him. It seemed that the delinquent girl had come out and found him. She thought that he was a thief. Yang Ming's reaction was very sensitive. Just as he felt that he was being attacked from behind, he quickly reacted. He threw the pillows on the ground and then his right hand grabbed behind him. What caught his hand was a delicate ankle. Yang Ming turned around, but he didn't loosen his grip at all. Because Yang Ming found that this delinquent girl wasn't simple. The strength of her kick wasn't light. If this kick landed on his body, he would definitely be kicked to the ground. Yang Ming frowned. This chick is quite fierce. However, when he looked closely, the fiercer part was still to come. The butterfly delinquent girl actually ran out naked with a bath towel wrapped around her. Now one of her legs was caught in his hand. It was a posture where one leg was raised high and the other leg was on the ground. The spring scenery below was completely exposed in front of Yang Ming's eyes. Ugh! Yang Ming swallowed a mouthful of saliva. This posture is too seductive, right? Wang Xiaoyan also felt where Yang Ming's gaze was. Her face suddenly turned red. She shouted and reached out to slap Yang Ming's face. Yang Ming didn't mean to take advantage of Wang Xiaoyan. When he saw her reach out to slap him, he let go of his hand. Then he stepped aside and said awkwardly, I didn't see anything, Yang Ming. Wang Xiaoyan frowned. Her face was a bit unfriendly. However, after seeing Yang Ming's appearance, she relaxed her vigilance. Apparently she knew him. It seemed to be called Wang Xiaoyan, right? Yang Ming remembered that Zhao Ying mentioned it before. How did you come in? Wang Xiaoyan adjusted her emotions and wrapped the scarf around her body. Yang Ming was somewhat surprised by Wang Xiaoyan's calmness. If it were another girl who had suffered such a big grievance, she might have cried now. However, Wang Xiaoyan could still calmly ask him how he came in. Zhao Ying asked me to bring something for her. Yang Ming explained, she forgot to take the pillows she bought for her parents, so she asked me to help her send them over. Yang Ming pointed to the 2 pillows on the ground. He gave you the key? Wang Xiaoyan nodded. Thought it was a thief. Then, if there is nothing else, I will leave first. Although Yang Ming felt that he didn't do anything wrong, after all, he saw the little girl naked. It was still a bit awkward. Wang Xiaoyan nodded and turned back to her room. Lock the door. Yang Ming breathed a sigh of relief. This chick looks to be 16 or 17 years old. She's a high school student, right? Although Yang Ming felt that a delinquent girl like her couldn't be too pure, he was still a bit embarrassed. Counting this time, it should be the 3rd time, right? This chick is really unlucky. She is naked in front of me all day long. Yang Ming didn't dare to stay any longer. He quickly left the place. Wang Xiaoyan, who was behind him, quickly put on her clothes. She frowned and stood in front of the window, looking at Yang Ming's back as he left. Yang Ming didn't think so much. He thought that Wang Xiaoyan wasn't shy because she was open-minded. He directly found a post office. According to the address sent by Zhao Ying in the text message, he sent the 2 pillows out by express mail. The 2 members of the Wang family's special forces, Han Tianba and Fei Tianqi, were grateful that Yang Ming let them go last time, so they didn't inform Wang Shifan about Yang Ming's skills. This matter was only known by Song Hang, Han Tianba and Fei Tianqi. Therefore Wang Shifan didn't know anything about it. In Wang Shifan's study, Wang Shifan and Huang Yukai were discussing Yang Ming's problem. Originally, for Yang Ming, Wang Shifan didn't care much about Yang Ming, but now the appearance of Yang Ming obviously interfered with his plan. Recently, Wang Shifan seemed to want to make arrangements for his funeral because he didn't know if he could escape this disaster. What he was most worried about was his son Wang Jitao. If Wang Jitao could marry Zhou Jiejia, then his life of safety and wealth could be guaranteed. Therefore, after Yang Ming appeared, Wang Shifan wanted to get rid of this hindrance. Yang Ming, tell me your opinion. Wang Shifan rubbed his temple and said to Huang Yukai. President Wang, I don't think it's a good time to deal with Yang Ming now. Huang Yukai hesitated and said, after all, Jitao just threatened to retaliate against Yang Ming in public. At this time Yang Ming has a problem. It's hard to guarantee that Jitao won't be linked to it. This is also what I have concerns about, but now time is tight. I really have no other way. Wang Shifan sighed. However, I have a compromise, but this method isn't very glorious. Huang Yukai thought for a moment and came up with a wicked idea in an instant. He wasn't the kind of person who played conspiracy. Wang Shifan also knew this, so he nodded and said, then you talk about it first. We can talk to Zhou Jiejia first. Huang Yukai smiled. Look for Zhou Jiejia? Are you talking about looking for President Hua? Asked Wang Shifan. Not looking for President Hua, but looking for Zhou Jiejia herself. Huang Yukai smiled evilly. Chapter 527. Looking for Zhou Jiejia? Why are we looking for her? Wang Shifan was somewhat inexplicable. Are we going to threaten her? Yes, we are going to threaten her. Hee. Huang Yukai smiled sinisterly. What? Wang Shifan was stunned. Then he smiled bitterly and shook his head. Are you kidding me? Is Zhou Jiejia so easy to threaten? Her mother's identity as President Hua. Is she willing to be threatened by us? President Hua. I don't think President Hua will interfere. Huang Yukai smiled. Because what we are doing is actually what President Hua wants to do. What do you mean? Wang Shifan asked with some confusion. It's very simple. We find Zhou Jiejia and threaten her with Yang Ming to force her to comply. Huang Yukai said slowly, it can be seen that Zhou Jiejia loves the person named Yang Ming very much. We use the safety of the person she loves to force her to be with Jitao. I think Zhou Jiejia should be able to comply. Oh? Wang Shifan looked up in surprise. Your strategy is good. We are targeting Yang Ming, not Zhou Jiejia. I don't think President Hua will have any objection. However, are you sure that Zhou Jiejia will comply? I don't understand the company's management, but when it comes to human nature and playing dirty, I, Huang Yukai, am a master. Huang Yukai nodded. When the time comes, we will do this, Huang Yukai told his plan to Wang Shifan. Good. Very good. You are talented. You are really talented. Wang Shifan couldn't help but admire. You are really the reincarnation of Zhuge Wuhou. President Wang is overpraising me. Huang Yukai nodded with some self-satisfaction. However, there is a problem. Wang Shifan asked with some concern. We can threaten Zhou Jiejia for a while, but we can't threaten her for a lifetime. At that time, if I go in, what should I do if she breaks up with Jitao? President Wang, you are really overthinking. Huang Yukai said indifferently, women are the most fickle. When the time comes, let Jitao hold on tight. What is done is done. How will she have the mind to think about that Yang Ming? Xiao Wang should have a deep understanding of this. Back then, Xiao Hua, that stubborn girl, was so desperate when you were messing with her at first. Now she's still not serving you well? Xiao Hua was one of Wang Shifan's lovers. She was a small clerk in Wang's enterprise. After Wang Shifan took a fancy to her, he called her to the office and had sex with her. At first, Xiao Hua was courting death. She wanted to sue Wang Shifan, but later, after a few times of sex, Xiao Hua accepted her fate and finally became obedient. Therefore, Wang Shifan also felt that what Huang Yukai said was very reasonable. Thus he said, all right, it's decided then. However, the two of them had a good plan, but they had made a fatal mistake. They had overlooked a very important thing. All of this was based on the premise that Wang Jitao was a normal person. But the current situation was that Wang Jitao couldn't have sex at all. This was all thanks to Chen Afu. In the afternoon, Zhou Jiejia was sent to the downstairs of Wang's Century Xiongfeng group by her mother's driver. Wang Shifan called President Hua and said that he wanted to talk to Zhou Jiejia personally. President Hua naturally couldn't refuse. Last time, because his daughter made a scene at the Western restaurant, it had already embarrassed Wang Shifan. Now he wanted to find an opportunity to repair their relationship. Please, Miss Zhou. President Wang is waiting for you upstairs. At the entrance of Wang's group, there was naturally a receptionist who led Zhou Jiejia upstairs. When they came to the door of the chairman's office, the receptionist said, Miss Zhou, please come in. President Wang is waiting for you inside. Zhou Jiejia nodded. She didn't know what Wang Shifan wanted to do, but she thought that it must have something to do with Wang Jitao. Zhou Jiejia was helpless for a while. She knocked on the door and then entered the office. Unexpectedly, she didn't see Wang Jitao inside. Only Wang Shifan and a man in a wheelchair were there. Uncle Wang. Out of politeness, Zhou Jiejia still greeted him. Jiejia, sit down. You don't have to be reserved in front of Uncle. Wang Shifan stood up with a smile and pointed to the sofa on the side. Zhou Jiejia nodded and sat on the sofa. She looked at Wang Shifan quietly, waiting for him to speak. Cough, cough. Wang Shifan didn't expect Zhou Jiejia to be able to hold back her anger. He thought, you are indeed a lady of a noble family. You can't be compared to ordinary people. So he coughed twice and went into the main topic. Jiejia, I think you should find a time to set up a date with Jitao as soon as possible. Zhou Jiejia frowned. She thought it really is because of this matter. But on the surface she said in a humble manner, Uncle Wang, I think you should have seen it. I already have someone I like. Jiejia. Wang Shifan waved his hand and interrupted Zhou Jiejia's words. Young people, it's okay to be in a relationship for fun, but you can't be serious. Look at the conditions of your family, and then look at the conditions of Yang Ming's family. Are they on the same level? I think you and Jitao are the most suitable. Uncle Wang, you don't have to say it. Zhou Jiejia shook her head and said, if it's this matter, then my thoughts are already very obvious. I don't want to say more. However, I think Yang Ming, this young man, is good. If he works hard for a few decades, he may be able to make a name for himself. Suddenly, a gloomy voice came over. Huang Yukai said, it's just that if there is an accident, it won't make people so happy. Dying at a young age, what do you mean? Zhou Jiejia was stunned. She looked at Huang Yukai and looked at Wang Shifan again. Uncle Wang, are you threatening me? Threatening? No, you are my future daughter-in-law. How can I threaten you? Wang Shifan smiled kindly. It's just that this underling of mine has loved Jitao since he was young. If he sees Jitao fall out of love, I don't know what extreme things he will do. Sure enough. Uncle Wang, you are so vicious. You dare to do illegal things? Zhou Jiejie frowned and looked at Wang Shifan with some anger. Is it illegal? I just said it was an accident. Huang Yukai smiled. Moreover, in Songjiang City, there is really nothing that I, Huang Yukai, don't dare to do. So what if a few people die? You? When Zhou Jiejie came, although she guessed that Wang Shifan might persuade her to be with Wang Jitao, she didn't expect that they were actually despicable enough to threaten her with Yang Ming's safety. I'm not afraid to tell you that our President Wang's competitors, those who dared to stand up and pick a fight, didn't have a good end. Huang Yukai said gloomily, Miss Zhou, you are a smart person. You have to grasp the gains and losses by yourself. Don't regret it when the time comes. Zhou Jiejie was silent. She was also born in a wealthy family. She knew the insidiousness and viciousness of the rich. Therefore, what Wang Shifan and the disabled next to him said wasn't alarmist talk. It wasn't impossible for them to arrange an accident to get rid of Yang Ming. I heard that Yang Ming's father is a worker, right? His mother is unemployed. If the son dies and the father is laid off, this family would have to commit mass suicide. It's a bit interesting. Huang Yukai smiled with a crooked mouth as if he was talking about a very happy thing. After Zhou Jiejie heard it, she was so angry that she trembled. There are actually such shameless people. But Zhou Jiejie had no way. Tell Mom. Mom will definitely not care about these things. Call the police. Before the crime was constituted, Wang Shifan could completely deny everything that had just been said. However, Zhou Jiejie still struggled. Aren't you afraid that I will call the police? Call the police. Sure, the person is dead. If you are willing to call the police, just do as you wish. Huang Yukai said calmly. Zhou Jiejie bowed her head helplessly. Yes, she didn't care about other things, but she couldn't not care about Yang Ming. Now Yang Ming had become Zhou Jiejie's everything. He was the pillar of her life every day. If something happened to Yang Ming, then I don't have to live anymore. Moreover, if something happened to Yang Ming because of her, then Zhou Jiejie would blame herself to death. Looking at Huang Yukai with an evil smile and Wang Shifan with an indifferent expression, Zhou Jiejie had an impulse to die. I am really a sinner. I didn't bring any help to Yang Ming. Instead, I am always creating trouble for him. He used to be like this and it is even more so now. Zhou Jiejie sighed faintly. Anyway, now the relationship between herself and Yang Ming can no longer be repaired. Yang Ming probably hates me. If I can sacrifice myself in exchange for Yang Ming's safety and happiness, then anything I do is worth it. Isn't there a good saying? If you like someone, you don't have to be with him. As long as he is happy, then it's fine. Chapter 528. Thinking of this, Zhou Jiejie also thought it through. If I'm with Wang Jitao, then so be it. As long as they let go of Yang Ming, it's fine. I agree to be with Wang Jitao. Will you let go of Yang Ming? Zhou Jiejie looked up and hesitated. Of course. Wang Shifan was delighted after listening to Zhou Jiejie's words. However, Huang Yukai said in a very gloomy voice, that depends on Miss Zhou's performance. However, there was a hint of insidious ruthlessness in his eyes. Zhou Jiejie was already very wary of Huang Yukai. Now, seeing his insidious look, she was even more vigilant. She said faintly, if you promise not to harm Yang Ming, then I will agree. Deal, Miss Zhou. Huang Yukai grinned. Zhou Jiejie felt that he was extremely hypocritical. Therefore, when she was with Wang Jitao, Zhou Jiejie also wanted to pay attention to Wang Shifan's movements. If they really had a move that was unfavorable to Yang Ming, she would not hesitate to warn Yang Ming. Wang Shifan saw that Wang Jitao compromised and he was very happy. He stood up happily. Okay, I will inform Jitao. Both of you should get close to each other first and cultivate your relationship. As he said this, he walked out of the office to call Wang Jitao. Why did he have to leave the office? It was because he wanted to hint to his son about some things so that he could quickly turn the raw rice into cooked rice. Wang Shifan didn't expect that it was because of his actions today that accelerated his path to destruction. He originally thought that Zhou Jiejie was just a little girl. What kind of impact could it have? However, he had overlooked one point. Women were sometimes the craziest. Especially for the person they loved, they would do anything. Jitao, let me tell you a piece of good news. Wang Shifan dialed his son's phone in high spirits. Dad, what's the news? Wang Jitao had been listless for the past 2 days. Because of Zhou Jiejie's matter, he was also very upset. He stayed at home all day to play online games. Originally, he said that he would come to the Wang's group for an internship, but he really couldn't bring himself to do it. It couldn't be helped. Wang Shifan just let him be. Good news. Jiejie is in my office now. She has agreed to be your friend. Wang Shifan said with a smile, you quickly pack up and come to my place. Then both of you can go shopping. Really? Wang Jitao couldn't believe his ears. Dad, are you lying to me? Silly son, why would I lie to you? Wang Shifan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Come on. What I said is true. Then I'll be right there. Wang Jitao immediately became energetic. Just now he was listless in the game and often asked people to PK. Now he suddenly became lively. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Son, Jiejie is a hot commodity. You have to hurry up. What's done can't be undone. Wang Shifan pretended to inadvertently remind him. Okay, you come quickly. Okay. After a long while, Wang Jitao said the word okay. After listening to his father's last words, Wang Jitao suddenly felt that his chest was like a big stone pressing down on it. He couldn't breathe. Since that scare, his body's hidden illness had not been cured. For this matter, Wang Jitao didn't know how many ancestral palace doctors, old military doctors, retired experts clinics. He also ate a lot of medicine and spent a lot of money, but there was no improvement. So how could Wang Jitao not be depressed? It seems that I can only hurry up and treat the illness. Wang Jitao reluctantly put on his clothes and started the car to rush to his father's company. The unhappiness in that aspect could only be temporarily left behind. Sure enough, in his father's office, Wang Jitao saw the fairy who made his heart beat faster. Jiejie, you agreed? Wang Jitao couldn't help but ask in surprise. And Zhou Jiejie said helplessly. For Yang Ming, she could only endure. Well, you two go outside and play. Jitao, be good to Jiejie. Wang Shifan got up and said. That's fine, Dad. We will go first. Wang Jitao nodded happily and then said to Zhou Jiejie, Jiejie, let's go? Zhou Jiejie nodded gently and sighed imperceptibly. She went out of the office with Wang Jitao. Jiejie, you are so beautiful today. Wang Jitao saw that Zhou Jiejie had been very silent, so he found a reason to say it. Thank you. Zhou Jiejie knew what she had to do now. That was to maintain a good relationship with Wang Jitao. Otherwise, Wang Shifan would definitely do something. Jiejie, what are you thinking? Why did you suddenly agree? Wang Jitao couldn't ask such a low-level question, but now his whole person was immersed in a state of madness. He was too excited. I figured it out. Zhou Jiejie said, I think the gap between Yang Ming and me is too big. So, it is better to find a boyfriend who has a similar family situation as me. Ah, that's right. Wang Jitao suddenly said, I think so too. What's so good about Yang Ming, that big idiot? Ah. Zhou Jiejie bit her lip and then nodded. She forced a smile and said, yeah, let's go. Get in the car. Let's go shopping. Wang Jitao said as he pulled Zhou Jiejie's hand to let her get in the car. Zhou Jiejie frowned and carefully avoided it. Then she put on a somewhat shy expression. Yeah, we just got together. Let's cultivate our relationship first. I don't want to be too fast. Okay. It's okay. I can wait. Wang Jitao nodded quickly. In fact, he didn't want to progress too fast with Zhou Jiejie. He had a problem that he couldn't say. He was also afraid that when he and Zhou Jiejie couldn't control themselves, and when it really came to that step, he would be finished. If Zhou Jiejie saw that he couldn't have sex, then she would never be with him again. Therefore, before his illness was cured, Wang Jitao didn't intend to be too close to Zhou Jiejie. Otherwise, it would be too easy to have an accident. It seemed that he had to find a place to treat his illness quickly. However, Wang Jitao's behavior helped Zhou Jiejie. Originally, Zhou Jiejie thought that she had to sacrifice a little and let Wang Jitao take advantage of her. She didn't expect Wang Jitao to just let it go. Although she was a little puzzled why Wang Jitao was so serious, this was good for her, so Zhou Jiejie didn't ask in detail. After shopping with Zhou Jiejie for a while, Zhou Jiejie also faintly dealt with Wang Jitao. Wang Jitao was very happy and bought a lot of things for Zhou Jiejie. Zhou Jiejie didn't want to accept it, but she was afraid that Wang Jitao would be suspicious, so she took it in her hand. After driving Zhou Jiejie away, Wang Jitao went crazy and came to an unlicensed clinic in a small dilapidated building. "Young man, you're here?" An old man with a wrinkled face smiled at Wang Jitao and asked. "Miracle doctor, when do you think my illness will be cured?" Wang Jitao was a little anxious. Desperate times call for desperate measures. After many failed treatments, Wang Jitao listened to other people's recommendations on online forums and came to the clinic of the so-called ancient immortal, Dr. Qin Fengxiong. Miracle doctor was similar to a god, but this Qin Fengxiong said that he had lived for hundreds of years and had boundless immortal power. He was called the immortal doctor. Last time he gave Wang Jitao a glass of sacred water. He didn't know if it was a psychological effect or something else. After drinking it, Wang Jitao felt that it seemed to have some effect, so he came again. "Don't worry. Your illness is a problem with the yin and yang in the body. It is the most difficult to treat," Qin Fengxiong said calmly. I know. Wang Jitao hurriedly nodded. "My illness, I've gone to several clinics but there was no effect. If it was easy to cure, I wouldn't have come to trouble the godly doctor. Young man, you can rest assured. Since you found me, it is fate. I will definitely let you live," Qin Fengxiong said mysteriously. Thank you, miracle doctor, Wang Jitao nodded. "This time I will give you an ultimate heaven origin soul essence. After you take it, there should be an effect," Qin Fengxiong said. "However, this thing belongs to the essence of heaven and earth. The price, miracle doctor, don't worry. I have money. I have plenty of money. How much do you want?" Wang Jitao quickly said, "I will buy 5. Do you think you are buying fruit? You want to buy as many as you want?" Qin Fengxiong rolled his eyes and said, "I only have 2 of these ultimate heaven origin soul essences. However, I can only sell 1 to you. As for the rest, I'll leave it for those who need it. Besides, although this is a good thing to strengthen the body, it may not be suitable for your path." Chapter 529. Then I want both, Wang Jitao said in a hurry. "I said that I can only sell you 1. Qin Fengxiong waved his hand and said, "However, seeing that you are so eager to be cured, I will sell you another Han Yuan Thunderbolt pill. After eating this, it can also be very beneficial to your illness. If you take both together, the effect will be better. Maybe your illness will be cured all of a sudden." "Well then, give it to me quickly." Wang Jitao was now eager to cure his illness. When he heard this miracle doctor say that this had the possibility of curing the illness, his eagerness could be imagined. "However, this price is not cheap." Qin Fengxiong shook his head and said, "This thing can't be bought by ordinary people. I think you should forget about it. I will give you a few ordinary medicines. Although the effect is far worse than this, if you take it for a long time, there will be some effect." Money is not a problem. How could Wang Jitao be short of money? "Miracle doctor, just give me the strong medicine. This is 50,000 yuan. Qin Fengxiong knew that Wang Jitao was rich, so he opened his mouth wide. 50,000? Okay, no problem. You give me the medicine. Wang Jitao nodded and said quickly. Qin Fengxiong looked at Wang Jitao and narrowed his eyes. "You don't look like you can take out 50,000 yuan. I am going to get the money now." Wang Jitao said, "You give me the medicine first." Wang Jitao was anxious. The sooner he took it, the sooner he could be cured. "That can't be done. There are rules in the trade. 1 hand for the money, 1 hand for the goods," Qin Fengxiong said with his nostrils. "Well then, you wait for me. Miracle doctor, I am going to get the money now. You must not sell the ultimate heaven origin soul essence and the Han Yuan Thunderbolt pill to others," Wang Jitao said. "Don't worry." Qin Fengxiong nodded. Wang Jitao didn't dare to delay. He went out and drove to the nearest bank. He withdrew 50,000 yuan. Then he hesitated for a moment and withdrew an additional 30,000 yuan. He quickly rushed back to the godly doctor's clinic. "Godly doctor, this is the money for the medicine. I took an extra 30,000. Do you have any other strong medicine? Give me a dose." As long as I can recover my masculine aura as soon as possible, I don't lack money. Wang Jitao respectfully placed the money on Qin Fengxiong's small wooden table. And Qin Fengxiong looked at the 8 stacks of $100 bills in front of him, and his heart was excited. In order to earn the remaining 30,000 yuan, Qin Fengxiong's eyes turned and he thought of an idea. Right, I still have a tire puncture muscle toning pill. It will also strengthen the body after eating it. I will give it to you as well. What? Tire puncture muscle toning pill? Wang Jitao was stunned. Isn't that the poison that the divine dragon sect ate in the deer and the cauldron? Oh, you heard wrong. I am talking about the pregnancy and vitality toning pill. After a woman takes it, it can protect the pregnancy. After a man takes it, it can benefit that aspect. Qin Fengxiong explained. Oh, it turns out to be like this. Wang Jitao suddenly realized. Then you give it to me quickly. You wait. I will get it for you. Qin Fengxiong said as he turned and went to the inner room. In other words, how could Qin Fengxiong have the ultimate heaven origin soul essence and the Han Yuan Thunderbolt pill? Not to mention the pregnancy and vitality toning pill. However, for the 80,000 yuan, Qin Fengxiong had to take something out of it. Opening the closet, Qin Fengxiong caught a glimpse of a few white mothballs. His heart moved. Ah, this thing is quite good. Isn't it the ultimate heaven origin soul essence? Come to think of it, that stupid kid can't see through it. As soon as he reached out, the ultimate heaven origin soul essence was in his hand. Then Qin Fengxiong began to look for the Han Yuan Thunderbolt pill. After looking for a long time, he found something similar. He turned and went to the kitchen. He suddenly found a dark red pill near the underground sewer. He didn't know what it was. He picked it up directly. The Han Yuan Thunderbolt pill was in his hand. The last pregnancy and vitality toning pill was left. Qin Fengxiong really didn't have anything else. After rummaging for a long time, he didn't see anything useful. Suddenly he thought of the Chinese medicine pills that his wife used to treat epilepsy and insomnia, so he quickly opened the medicine box, took out a pill, spat some saliva, and then kneaded the 2 pills into a ball. He rubbed it into a round shape. After seeing that the size was about right, he was ready to leave the inner room. However, after thinking about it, these 3 things were all divine items. If he took them out like this, it wouldn't be appropriate. So he turned around and rummaged in the drawer for a long time. He found a few daughter-in-law's broken jewelry boxes and put the pills into them one by one. Then he left the inner room and came to the outer room. Wang Jitao still sat there respectfully. When he saw Qin Fengxiong come out, he quickly said, "Miracle Doctor, did you get the medicine?" "And I got it." Qin Fengxiong put the 3 boxes on the table inscrutably, and then introduced them one by one. "This is the ultimate heaven origin soul essence. You must use that cold water. You must use cold water, otherwise there will be no effect." "Oh, I understand." Wang Jitao nodded and said, "What about the others?" "This Han Yuan Thunderbolt pill, when you listen to this name, it belongs to the fire attribute. This must be served with boiling water. It must be served with boiling water, otherwise there will be no effect," said Qin Fengxiong. "Ah." Wang Jitao was stunned and said with a bitter face, "Boiling water? Wouldn't that burn me to death?" "And this is indeed a problem. Then you should cool it down before taking it, but the effect should not be as good as boiling water." Qin Fengxiong also realized the bug in his words and quickly changed it. "In fact, if you take these 3 divine medicines together, it won't be that bad of an effect." Okay. Wang Jitao didn't know that Qin Fengxiong was talking nonsense, and he really believed it seriously. "The last one, what is it called?" Qin Fengxiong patted his head and scolded himself for being too old. "How can I forget the name of this elixir in a blink of an eye? Miracle Doctor, are you asking me? This must be the fertility and enhancement pill, right?" Wang Jitao didn't doubt him and said directly, "And yes, the fertility and enhancement pill." Qin Fengxiong thought it was a close call. "I was afraid that you couldn't tell, so I deliberately tested you. When this fertility and enhancement pill is taken, there is nothing to say, but you must not drink water. Swallow it directly." Wang Jitao looked at the huge black pill and his face was a little bitter. But for the treatment he accepted it. He clenched his teeth and said, "I got it." Qin Fengxiong took the money and sent Wang Jitao out with a smile. He turned his head and went back into the house, laughing so hard that he was about to roll over. 3 lousy pills and he had cheated them out of 80,000 yuan. He was too great. Wang Jitao, on the other hand, happily took the 3 elixirs and ran back home. Wang Jitao was not a person who was so easily fooled. He was a young man of the new generation who grew up under the education of atheism, but it was related to his lifelong happiness, especially after his illness was not cured for a long time. Wang Jitao could only pin his hopes on these supernatural people. And this Dr. Fairy Dr. Chen was said to be quite immortal. After reading n number of forum posts, Wang Jitao finally believed in this Dr. Chen, so he went to ask for help. How could he know that the replies on the online forums were all paid by Chen Fengxiong? Every day, they would post some of Chen Fengxiong's miracles on some medical forums. Old man, where is the rodent poison I put next to the kitchen drain? Chen Fengxiong's wife came back from the market and asked casually when she was cooking in the kitchen. What is it? I don't know. Chen Fengxiong did not pay attention to what his wife said at all. Instead he smiled and said, guess how much money I made today? How would I know how much money you made? 300? Or 500? Chen Fengxiong's wife said angrily, you are always cheating but I don't see you making a fortune. This time I don't know how long it will take for you to move again. Sigh, this time we can go back to our hometown. It's enough to buy a piece of land. Chen Fengxiong grinned and said, I made 80,000 yuan today. What? 80,000? Chen Fengxiong's wife widened her eyes in disbelief. Really? How did you make it? Ha, I met a rich big head. I sold 3 lousy pills for 80,000 yuan. Ha. Chen Fengxiong said happily. What kind of pills can be sold for 80,000 yuan? Chen Fengxiong's wife still didn't quite believe it. Your pills for insomnia and epilepsy, I rolled them into one pill and the mothballs in the closet count as one. The remaining one is purple and I don't know what it is. I picked it up in the kitchen. Chen Fengxiong said proudly, look, isn't this 80,000 yuan? Chen Fengxiong handed over a plastic bag, but Chen Fengxiong's wife did not reach out to take it. Instead she looked at Chen Fengxiong in panic. It's over. It's over. Old man, this is going to kill someone. Chapter 530. What's going on? What did someone die? Chen Fengxiong asked, baffled. The estrogen pill that you picked up in the kitchen was the rat poison that I put there. If it was eaten by someone, wouldn't he die? Chen Fengxiong's wife said with some fear. Is he okay? Didn't I give him the hormone pill last time and he didn't die? This kid is lucky. Ignore him. Chen Fengxiong said indifferently. You still want to talk about it? That was an estrogen pill. You gave it to him. Wouldn't it be worse if he ate more? Chen Fengxiong's wife glared. You always do such dangerous things. Can't you make a few dough balls in advance? I'm just improvising. Chen Fengxiong smiled. Okay, don't improvise. This time we probably have to run away again. Let's quickly pack up and leave here. Don't let someone die in a while. Both of us will get involved. Chen Fengxiong's wife said. That's fine. I'll listen to you. It's just a waste of the 300 yuan rent. Chen Fengxiong smacked his mouth and said with some reluctance. You dead old man. 80,000 yuan is already in our hands. Do you still need that little bit? You really don't count the big one but count the small one. Chen Fengxiong's wife said with some impatience. So these 2 old guys packed their luggage and left Songjiang in the dark of the night. After Wang Jitao returned home, he carefully put the 3 magical pills on the table. To be honest, Wang Jitao's current actions were very incomprehensible in the eyes of most people with higher education, but the current situation was such a situation. Not to mention Wang Jitao, many scholars who were more knowledgeable than him were also tempted to join the army of pyramid schemes. In fact, sometimes if people were to dig into a dead end, there would be a situation where they would be obsessed. In order to achieve their goals, they would do anything. Especially for people like Wang Jitao who had fallen into a desperate situation and couldn't wait to recover, they were the targets of those scammers. Wang Jitao plugged in his water dispenser and turned on the cooling and heating functions. Although Wang Jitao was possessed, he had not lost his common sense and judgment. Using boiling water to take medicine? That was simply courting death. However, the hot water in the water dispenser was hot enough. When he was taking the medicine, it made Wang Jitao choke. The combination of hot and cold made Wang Jitao's stomach churn. In order to treat his illness, Wang Jitao braced himself and swallowed the last fertility and vitality-enhancing pill. Wang Jitao only felt a burst of nausea. He had a feeling of wanting to vomit, but he gritted his teeth and held it back. These 3 strong drugs, if taken together, there would definitely be a reaction. Wang Jitao thought so. However, Wang Jitao endured it. He almost became a ninja turtle, but he still couldn't hold it back. Finally, he couldn't resist the reaction. After a moment of dizziness, he fell on his bed and couldn't stop moaning. Wang Shifan was very refreshed today. He had solved his son's lifelong event, so he didn't have anything to worry about. He changed his usual frown. Today, for the first time, he ordered the nanny to buy some fish. He personally cooked, which made Wang Shifan's wife, Su Xiaomei, somewhat inexplicable. "Old man, what's wrong with you today? Did you take stimulants? How many years have you not shown your culinary skills?" Su Xiaomei asked curiously. I'm happy today. I want to cook a few good dishes for my son." Wang Shifan said with a smile, "Do you know? Jitao and Zhou Jiajia are dating." Here, by the way, before Wang Shifan made his fortune, he was a chef in a snack bar. His cooking skills were still good. Really? Isn't it impossible? Su Xiaomei was stunned and somewhat surprised. "I was wondering why Jitao was so happy when he came home in the afternoon. You go and ask Jitao to come down for dinner. I made stir-fried kidney for him to nourish his body." Wang Shifan smiled. "You old man, why are you so indecent?" Su Xiaomei smiled. "What are you teaching your son to do all day long?" "Zhou Jiajia, that girl is 1 in a million. If I don't cook the rice as soon as possible, then I won't be sure." Wang Shifan smirked. "Okay, I'm going to ask my son to come down for dinner," Su Xiaomei said as she went upstairs to call Wang Jitao. Here, Wang Shifan put the dishes on the table. Su Xiaomei came to the door of Wang Jitao's room and knocked on the door. "Son, open the door. Your dad cooked something delicious for you today." After a long while, there was no movement in the room. Su Xiaomei was a bit baffled. She said to herself, "This child, is he asleep?" As she thought about it, she opened the door and walked in. She called, "Jitao." "Ah!" Su Xiaomei screamed because she saw her son Wang Jitao lying on the bed at the moment. He kept twitching and his mouth was like a crab with white bubbles. "Jifan, come up quickly. Bai Jitao is sick." Su Xiaomei shouted as she quickly ran to Wang Jitao's side. She shook her son's body and said, "Jitao, wake up. Don't scare your mother. What happened to you?" However, Wang Jitao didn't respond at all. He kept spitting out white bubbles. His eyes turned white and his hands and feet kept trembling. When Wang Shifan heard his wife scream, he didn't understand. He quickly put down the plate in his hand and ran upstairs quickly. However, he saw that his wife was holding Wang Jitao and kept calling. When Wang Shifan saw the appearance of his beloved son, he was suddenly scared. Now all his hopes were pinned on this son. Something happened to his son. How could he live? Wang Shifan was worthy of being an old man who had been in the business world for a long time. After seeing his son's situation, although he was very scared, he didn't panic like his wife. Instead, he immediately regained his calmness. "Hurry to the hospital." As Wang Shifan said this, he picked up Wang Jitao and strode downstairs. Su Xiaomei also quickly followed behind. When they came to the garage, Wang Shifan put his son in the back seat of the car. Then he quickly started the car and rushed to the people's hospital. Along the way, he didn't care about the red and green lights. He rushed all the way to the hospital. Wang Shifan sent Wang Jitao to the emergency room. After preliminary confirmation, it was food poisoning. As for how he was poisoned, it would be determined after gastric lavage. As a result, Wang Jitao's mouth was filled with tubes. After a lot of tossing and turning in the middle of the night, there were drips and ventilators. Wang Jitao was finally out of the critical period, but it was hard to say if there were any sequelae. Because now Wang Jitao's brainwaves had not returned to normal, it was an abnormal state. Overnight, Wang Shifan became a lot older. Looking at his son on the bed, he was very puzzled. The test results had come out. There was no food in Wang Jitao's stomach, so it could be determined that Wang Jitao was poisoned by taking drugs. "Doctor, what kind of poison is this?" Wang Shifan took the test results and asked the doctor next to him. Several different drug substances were found in the patient's stomach, but the pathogenic substance is tetramethylene disulfone tetramonia. The doctor pointed to the test results and explained. What is tetramethylene disulfone tetramonia? How can this kind of thing appear in my son's stomach? Wang Shifan asked with a frown. Tetramethylene disulfone tetramonia is a scientific name. In fact, it is a drug called tetramine. It is commonly known as no rat life or death by smell. Mild poisoning symptoms include headache, dizziness, fatigue, nausea, vomiting, numbness of the lips, and drunkenness. However, the patient takes a large amount of it. It belongs to severe poisoning. The symptoms of poisoning are sudden fainting and epileptic-like seizures. During seizures, the whole body convulses, foaming at the mouth, urinary incontinence, and loss of consciousness. The doctor explained, as for how this kind of thing appeared in the patient's stomach, I can't answer it. You have to wait until the patient wakes up and then you can ask him. Thank you, doctor. After my son recovers, will there be any sequelae? Wang Shifan was most concerned about this now. That's hard to say. The patient hasn't woken up yet. Let's wait until he wakes up. The doctor shook his head and said, Sorry to trouble you. Wang Shifan sighed. He couldn't understand. How could his son commit suicide by taking drugs? There were no signs of weariness, right? However, now all of this was a mystery. He could only wait until Wang Jitao woke up. However, looking at the current brainwave chart, the patient woke up. That's naturally good. But you also have to be prepared. If he can't wake up then? The doctor shook his head. Doctor, what if he can't wake up? Wang Shifan asked with some anxiety. Then he will always lie down. In a serious case, if he can't wake up, then he will be in a vegetative state, said the doctor. Su Xiaomei fainted after hearing it. You're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.